In the yellow, we have Classicpro. Classicpro from Ukraine playing as the Chinese to open up this series. And then in the blue, we have Villese. Villese is playing as the Mayans. This is very similar to what we've seen sometimes in openings in Arabia in the sets. We see a lot of Aztecs, if they're not banned, Mayans, Chinese, Franks. We have some variety, but these are the civs that were really good on Arabia, which is just an open lands map, whereas you might have other civilizations thrive on more hybrid situations. If Classicpro makes it past Villese, who does he face against, chat? I forget. Forget who's on the other side of that bracket in round 2. Best of 5 here, best of 5 elsewhere. If you look at the bracket, it will spoil results. I don't want to know results. Okay, it'd be the winner between Bro and Lan. Interesting. And that happens on Monday, I believe. That'd be crazy. But we have to pay attention to player tendencies. Everything's important, from the civs to the strategy to the colors. So if Classicpro beats Villese and then beats whoever's next and makes it into the top 16 and then picks yellow, or anyone picks yellow, it's either Viper or Classicpro confirmed. That'd be such a weird situation to be in. Like the first series of Hidden Cup 4, it's like, I don't know, Pope Leo against King Bela. And one player chooses yellow, and we can't just be like, Viper! It's also Classicpro. So, yeah, Viper already in the main event. One of the top 8 from the previous Hidden Cup. Hera already in the top 8. You have Viper, Hera, Dogal, Tato, Doubt, MBL, Yo, and Leary. Those 8 names. The top 8 from Hidden Cup 3. Which I don't really think people could have any massive complaints about, right? With random seeding and bracket being kind of unpredictable. If it was Viper Leary round 1, for example, someone wins there and then one of those players would have to qualify. Nice patience there from Classicpro, pushing in all this food underneath the TC. Yeah, that top 8 seems pretty solid. I know Doubt was happy to not have to qualify for once. Doubt's been giving me crap for years about having to qualify for tournaments. I basically told him, well, then, you know, make it to the second round. Hidden Cup 1, he lost in the first round. Hidden Cup 2. Shoot, I forget what happened with Doubt in Hidden Cup 2. Hidden Cup 2. I think he also lost in the first round.
Wait.
Hidden Cup 1, he lost to Miguel first round. Hidden Cup 2, he lost to MBL first round. And then Hidden Cup 3, I think he beat Fire. And then he ended up losing to Hera 3-2. There's been a lot of sets and a lot of tournaments. So what's funny is in Hidden Cup 3, and we'll be doing this for Hidden Cup 4 as well, when a player finishes their games, they of course have to report the score to the admin, but then they also have to tell the admin who they think they were playing. And I'll have videos on this, but in Hidden Cup 3, I think 50% of the time the players were correct, but 50% of the time they were not. It was funny, in one semifinal, both players guessed they were facing Hera. But neither of them were Hera, so that was pretty cool. Hera got guessed a lot. But anyways, I'm kind of excited for this year's. I think it's going to be tougher to guess. But Doubt beat Fire 3-0. Of course, didn't know it was Fire. But then said to Robo, I think I just beat Viper. Like, such a troll, man. Like, Doubt actually believed that he had just 3-0'd the Viper. He said Viper. So at the end, if you looked at the reveal, and many of you might not forget this, or maybe you weren't there, we're like, wait a second. Like, that one player said they beat Viper 3-0, and Dave's like, that has to be Doubt, and it was. So, it's funny stuff. Right. What do you think of how open Villese's map is? I mean, he's not walling it, whereas Classicpro is walling a lot. Interesting how he's gone for small walls around his berries, and how he's walling the rest elsewhere. I mean, he doesn't want to wall too much. He's on his way to Feudal. He'll probably make a barracks and wants to get scouts out. Villese is going to go for Man-at-Arms, so he just wants to be safe. And whoa! Holy deer, man. There's not a single deer safe on this freaking map, it feels like. Villese even came home to push in all that food. Zoff, that's not really how that works. But, like, there's other aspects to it. What you're saying is incorrect. We do a couple different things. I mean, you can only do so much to make sure players don't know various things, but your assumption there, I won't get into it, is incorrect. Here's Villese of Man-at-Arms with double bit axe. So, alright, so he's gonna pressure, but he's not pressuring the berry side.
Shot it.
He's not really able to pressure the wood lines, assuming Classicpro gets the walls down. And we're gonna see scouts coming out for Classicpro. So Classicpro, I'm sure, is feeling pretty good about this. Just wants to finish that house. That's risky. Maybe just build another house. You want to do that? I guess you do if you're Classicpro. Impressive patience there under pressure. 2 scouts out and an early archer range for Classicpro. So the archer range timing is always an interesting thing in these situations because you really want to have farms when you're going for scouts. So he's going for the archer range right now, and that's 3 farms that cannot be built. 3 scouts out. Villese may be waiting for a spearman. You see the spearman coming out across the map right now. Good work there. And Villese back at home is also walling. So Villese just buying time right now to wall up and stay safe. And then here come the scouts. The scouts toying with the idea of fighting, but now the spearman's here. This is good overall Age of Empires from both. We'll have an archer and then a few skirmishers out for Classicpro. But for now, Classicpro needs to have these walls down. Yeah, Gorg, we have the seating on the scoreboards in between games. But unfortunately, with the way Capture Age operates right now, we're not able to have that. So, for the main event of Hidden Cup, we're going to have some changes. I can't really talk about it, but there will be some different things for the way that the game's presented in-game. But yeah, I cannot have... I suppose I could just put, like, the number right behind the name, but that would be rather confusing. But Classicpro is seed 36, Villese is seed 4. And remember that Classicpro had to beat Zupi, who is Villese's Finnish teammate. Both players having a hill here. Classicpro looking strong so far. They might need to back away until a few more ranged units come in here. Villagers are on gold, but not really enough to go for archers just yet. And do you want to go archers or do you want to go skirms? This is awkward. I think ideally you'd have archers. Ideally, you'd have archers because if eagles start coming out in the mid-game, at least archers can contribute there, whereas skirmishers really can't. So Classicpro going to defend with houses and thinks, I can't let Villese wall up. And here come the scouts. Villese realizing that the scouts aren't there with excellent game sense is going to wall. Villese could get this. Oh, Classicpro's in. Classicpro is in. That is unfortunate. Now, I think the scouts could have also come in on this side. But now you've got 6 scouts, almost all on full HP coming in here. And your villagers are idle. And you're not able to do any damage to Classicpro. What a great job from Classicpro to defend from the early pressure and then go out at the proper time. Really finding reward for this now. Both players had strong attacks. It's just Classicpro defended from his and Villese wasn't able to do so. Classicpro hasn't killed many villagers though, which is interesting to note. Villese housed temporarily there. That farmer is really... He's going to ask to go to a new farm, I'm sure. And the scouts... What? What? Why? But Classic. Bye. Classicpro may be worried, just leaves. Which can lead to some excellent map control, but I have to question that. I feel like there's so much potential... As we see, was that an archer? Yep, an archer go down. I feel like there was so much potential for a few more Vil picks there and just to buy time. Then again, guys, look what's going to result from the scouts coming back. If the scouts come back, all of this gets cleared up, and there's a few archers in there. And then Classicpro will have skirms, and then he'll be knocking on the door. Villese really won't be able to get any military out. He won't be able to threaten Classicpro. So maybe Classicpro was thinking, if I get Vil snipes, that's one thing. But if I control the game, that's another. Still has 5 scouts remaining and good micro, though many of them are weak. And I think Villese is going to go for a sneaky approach right now. I see these archers and spearmen coming forward. I'm actually rather surprised he's not going to sneak. Because there's ranged units out here for Classic Pro. I thought that he was going to run down here to the south and loop around. Now Classic Pro knocking on the door, and I'm looking at the food count. Food count better for Classic Pro. I think it will rise for Villese. And a barracks right there for Villese. That very forward gold. Maybe Villese will even have to consider a tower soon if the pressure gets worse. The number above idle villagers on the overlay is a number that's already elsewhere on the overlay. That is the value of the military. So honestly, just like cover this spot on your screens because that's confusing for people. And just look down here. That's the value of the military. So value number is the cost of the military units. And then the number below that on the bottom right side is the percentage of gold units. Classic Pro clicks up. Classic Pro looking good, I'd say. Now, I wonder what Classic Pro will commit towards, because it's really tough to know if Mayans are going to go for archers or if they're going to mix in eagles too. And that's why Villese made that barracks in the back. Villese is thinking more about mixing in eagles right now. I think Villese has military count, which translates better into late game. Or not late game, but, you know, mid game. You have one weak archer and a few skirms, and then a bunch of weak scouts. This doesn't really get upgraded. At least I don't think so. Maybe the skirms will be upgraded. But again, as we stated, if you end up going for the skirms, then there could be some eagles out there. Here comes Villese to hit the wood line. Classic Pro just shoring up walls at home, but the wood line's rangeable. Probably needs to delete the house and run this way. Yep. Because you don't want to run this way because you'll lose your bills to archers, as you can see here. Awkward as well for Villese. That one archer makes it a bit more awkward for him to hold. And also that positioning... Isn't there a hole there between the house and the... There's a tile gap there between the house and the mill. The scouts could still get kills. And there we go. Villese notices. But Villese also pressuring. He's just going to be later to the Castle Age. Crossbow's the choice for Classic Pro. Interesting choice. Good start to this fight. This is even before the Castle Age upgrades come in, and Classic Pro has the lead. Classic Pro looking really good. Honestly. The defense from the Man-at-Arms Spearman was great. Villese did everything he could have done perfectly there. Getting every eco upgrade you would need right now. You normally skip the farm one. University coming up for ballistics. He's maintaining some control and annoyance of Villese. And here he comes. You guys are saying the side is open? What side are we talking about here? Oh, right there. That's funny. I assumed it would be closed, and so did Classic Pro. And it makes sense to assume it, too, because players are never going to leave that type of a gap there. Well, again, the scouts are very weak, so it's not like they would get many kills, but it could have been useful with the ranged units. Villese forced a tower. The deer goes down. Way to go, Classic Pro. Ballistics on the way. We'll have armor and attack upgrades. Full armor, full attack from the blacksmith, and ballistics on the way already. Sick.
Shot it.
But is that enough against Eagle Warrior? Mayans are so versatile. They're able to go for the archers, and they're one of the best archer civs, but they also could go for eagles in the mid game. And I feel like there's a risk where Classic Pro is probably going to start adding TCs at home, thinking he's ahead, which is correct in many ways. But now he's going to see these eagles and be worried about this. He kills one eagle. He's got to back away, and there's also enough range units there for Villese where he'll be comfortable taking this fight. Ballistics or no ballistics, still, I think Villese is going to have the numbers. It's just what value can Classic Pro get from this fight? His micro is impeccable, though. His micro is honestly really, really good. If I wanted to nitpick over one thing, it's that he's floating res and that he didn't add TCs yet. Whereas, like, a top 10 player would have the TCs up. And now he adds the TCs. But, like, that was really well played. I now see him getting scale barding, and he's thinking of mixing in knights, I suppose. Eco balance is going to be tough for this, because he definitely was planning on going for crossbowmen with all those upgrades. And now he wants to add a second stable. He's got 12 on food. I don't think he really has enough to justify a second stable. But Chinese, they're able to do a lot, and big lead now for Classic Pro with Vils incoming, because 2 TCs, 3 TCs, And he also knows that Villese has had to make a tower. But it looks like Villese either mined the stone. Oh, yeah, okay. Villese mined the stone to get the second town center. It's not bad. Siege Workshop in the middle for Villese looking to pressure. Villese behind the wood line with some crossbowmen. Not get Bodkin yet, but could. Good damage there. Knights coming out, though, for Classicpro. Think he could take an engagement here. He's going to take an engagement here. This won't be very good for Villese. The crossbowmen are not only going to be less accurate because of the lack of ballistics, but he also didn't have Bodkin in that fight. So Classicpro probably not happy to be this far on the back foot, but happy with some of these fights. Crazy, man. Fiesta, I will not be streaming Hidden Cup 4 anywhere other than Twitch. I think Twitch recently made an update where if you have ad block even installed on your browser, it detects it. And there's been an issue the last few days, so that's all I can say about that. Obviously, it's a recent thing, so what results from that, I'm not sure. But I've been having some people in chat mentioning that they're getting some issues, and I can only... as far as I know, it's because Twitch updated something where if you have an ad blocker installed, it makes it difficult to watch. That said, I think that if there are issues, like normally if there's an issue with a platform, those issues tend to sort out after a little while. That, or I guess if you're someone who wants to block ads, then you might end up finding another way to block ads in a few days. So people are so reactionary. Like, maybe I'm biased as a Twitch partner, but people are so reactionary. And Twitch has come so far. Twitch is so good in so many ways. Not that I, love ads or anything, but I also understand their perspective. Right, crossbowman patrolling forward. That's a lot of eagles. I think the Knight Crossbow Force should be better here. And look how Classicpro will micro down the siege units. Oh, wait, will he, though? Oh, that Mangonel's very weak. Goes down now. The crossbowmen are getting so many hits in. And look at Classicpro, who also peel off a few crossbowmen to try and take out the monk. Should take out the monk. I think just needs to stop here. If he takes this fight, stop. Let him fight. Oh, yeah, kill everything. 69 villagers or 61 villagers, and the Eagles are just not cutting it right now. The Eagles aren't cutting it. The economy is stronger for Classicpro. Very impressed with Classicpro. This is the 36th seed. Seed 36 against seed 4. Classicpro has already killed Zupi 3-0. Zupi, I think, was seed 22 or something. I forget exactly, but Zupi, a great player from Finland as well, and Classicpro pushing out across the map. Dave and I, for years, we've been casting Age, have been talking about how tough it is to kill Mayans, though, so I think Classicpro should continue to be aggressive. And he's doing that right now. It's just his unit control, his micro, everything seems to be very good. I'm probably going to jinx him here. But overall, I've been impressed, man, with how good he's been playing. Look at this clear up. The movement of the knights there, the grouping of the knights, that's another monk that goes down. Villese is completely overwhelmed by this player. This is sick. And he could never send out the Mangonel Villese because Classicpro continues to reinforce his knights right next to the siege workshop. This is disgustingly good. 37 on food, 24 on gold. I've never seen Classicpro play this good. Granted, when he beat Villese before, that was impressive, but that was not standard settings. So that was in a qualifier for an event where you start in Feudal Age. So this is going to be a treat of a series then. I see chain barding on the way for Classicpro. Villese does have a lot of gold control right now. He's got this gold secured, but I say a lot. He's got to secure this long term. I expect the siege workshop to just go down, and Villese, kind of a struggle to know what to do. Eagle Pikeman's normally good against knights. There's not that many crossbowmen out there, so maybe he can start thinking about going into pikeman, but you've got the best of both worlds for Classicpro with this composition. The Mangonel goes down, as does the siege workshop. Here comes Villese. I think he was hoping to catch out the crossbowman, and oh, not a good spot to be in. And even if he gets a conversion here, which he does, Les runs back with his tail between his legs, back to his base, back to his gold, an area where Classicpro could just dominate. And look at the amount on stone now for Classicpro. He's probably thinking about a castle. The knights have chain barding armor. The crossbowmen have ballistics. Villese is getting wrecked. He's getting the attack upgrade for eagles, but he doesn't have eagles anymore. I can never be speechless as a caster, but the way that Classicpro has showed up here has made me close to it. Mentally speechless. I'm thoughtless. Well, who am I kidding? Thoughtless is just how I tend to live my life. I'm not the smartest. Siege Workshop now for Classicpro. As he'll continue to pressure, I think he should continue to make knights. I don't think there's any reason to not do so. I think the big thing, and probably the only way that he could throw this game now, is if he doesn't pressure golds. His mines without gold are nothing. And you look at what he scouted, he knows there's a gold over here, and he knows there's a gold over here. So as he runs into the back of Vilese's eco to raid, that's good. Just has to keep an eye on those golds. Raiding on the front now. He's raiding everywhere, bringing the crossbone over to the woodline and the gold. 103 villagers versus 80. Knights heading over to the gold and the farms now. Knights back in on the front. There's knights in 5 different areas of the map right now. Villese has had 1.5 hours of idle time with his villagers. His villagers have not been able to go to work. Sick, man. And Villese has just clicked pikeman, but this is too little too late. What a player. Look at this economy. Look at the villagers coming forward. A get out of my game castle could be coming. I think you place it here. You're already controlling this area. Well, maybe you place it here because it's easier, and then you place the next one over there, but I think Villese is just going to tap out. It will not be a second castle. It won't be needed. Because he can't do anything now. Yeah, he cannot deny this castle. There's too many knights. There's too many villagers building the castle, too. How many is that? Like 20-some? Yeah, 20 exactly. Villese is going to send villagers over here. He still has to deal with this, right? So even if this castle's denied, which it won't be, he still doesn't have a response. Damn. The upset of upsets. Classicpro winning the first game and just stomping Villese. But, see, I've seen high-level players not have their game and then turn it around. But this was not Villese having a bad game. That's what's crazy. Like, this felt as though Villese was playing someone in the top 10 or top 15. Top 10 or top 15 players who might be listening right now will say, T90, shame on you. That's offensive to me. Sorry to those players that might be watching. But, like, that did not look like Seed 36. Villese is probably terrified of what is to come if Classicpro continues to play like that. Damn. Let's look at the statistics, guys, before we move into the next game. Woo! More food, more wood, more stone, more gold. And the rest is history. 84% of the map was explored. Like, I have Villese in my top 10 personally. I think he's a top 10 player. Or, like, at the very least, he's top 15. But if you think about the way that this tournament's organized, you have the top 8 from Hidden Cup 3 already in the main event. And then you seed the other players, and Villese is seed 4. So based on that alone, Villese is 12th rated player in the world. And Classicpro would be like 45th. And Classicpro was just able to do that to him. Incredible. So Classicpro takes the first game. And Villese has Cross and Gold Rush as his home maps. I imagine it's probably going to be Cross, and it will be. And I was going to guess Huns and Persians. It is Huns and Persians for game number 2. Both civs very fitting for this map, and both players very fitting for this map from what I know. Can someone look back and remind me what the maps were in the Classicpro Zupi series? I know islands happened in game 3. Game 1 was Arabia, obviously. But game 2, what was game 2? I'm just curious what Classicpro was able to do against Zupi. If maybe someone could look that up, could end up working out. Because remember, Zupi, a good friend of Villese, was also favored to beat Classicpro, and Classicpro 3-0'd him. It was on Bay. Gotcha, on Bay. Good to know. I was just curious. So Classicpro has not played on this map yet. Obviously, he probably has done a lot of training games. So Classicpro playing here as the Persians. And then we have Villese playing as the Huns. Persians start with plus 50 food. Persians start with plus 50 wood. And that allows them to dock a bit earlier. Their TCs have more HP. But more importantly on this map, because you won't see many TC rushes, is the fact that the docks have more HP. So let's say Classicpro goes over here and docks up and starts adding fishing ships. And Villese sneaks a villager and docks and starts to make fire galleys. It's great to take out fishing ships, but it's very difficult to take Persians off of water. I'd say this is 50-50 Civ matchup, though. Huns don't have to make houses. And while they have a slower start because they start with minus 100 wood, not having to build houses means that it's very flexible for them. Very rarely do they get pop capped, and then they can freely produce out of docks. And normally archer ranges. You see a lot of cav archers from them. Didn't Villese make cav archers in Red Bull Wololo as well? I don't know. I keep making comparisons with Red Bull Wololo, but it was a big tournament. Completely different settings. But I think he was one of the few players who would make who made cav archers and made them work. Technically, as Twitch chat is just nitpicking, man. You guys are nitpicking over my words. If you're showing up here thinking that I'm perfect, you showed up to the wrong stream, all right? I'm sorry. They get pop capped. Technically, to pull a chat on chat, technically they get pop capped to 200.
All day.
And you'd be like, oh, T90, 200 population is the max. Well, no, it's not. Not if Goths are playing. That's right. Goths can get 210. Anyways, Doc going up for Classicpro now. We might see some Goths if Winchester continues to play in this tournament. He'll be in a best of 7 decider next week. He loves his Goths. Classicpro with that hit. He's just scouting around, and it just comes down to if you're paying attention to your scout. Gets a hit. Every little bit counts. Looking at the maps, I feel as though I prefer Classicpro's map due to the walliness potential over here. So, boom, boom. And then your golds are protected behind those walls. Now, Villese could wall as well. And he's got some wood lines to work with. But the good news is normally you're not going to see a lot of walling. Normally, it's just going to be a lot of aggression. And Classicpro into the enemy team. Whoop! Dodged him. Classicpro just dodged this TC. Like, some people dodge gifted subs in this channel from time to time. Classicpro didn't totally dodge it, though. 39 HP. Thank you, Drew, by the way, for the gifted sub. Displat, thanks for the 3 months. The mustache is good. I just trimmed it up the other day. It's looking nice and snazzy. I don't have face cam set up right now, but mustache feeling good. Also, if we hit 10,000 viewers today, because I don't think we've done that yet during the qualifiers, I'm going to give 25 subs to the channel. Just an extra incentive to stick around today. But this would be the last set. Based on what I've seen so far, this is easily the most epic set of round 2. Well, maybe not round 2 as a whole, right? There were other upsets. Big one I keep thinking back on. And it was a couple days ago, so at this point I feel like we should be able to talk about it. Was when Lix was able to beat Miguel the way he did. Did we have 13k the other day? Did I forget about that already? Oh. All right, well, anyways, if we hit 10k today, I'll end up dropping some subs. Thanks for that. I didn't even remember. As Classicpro is sneaking a shepherd this direction. I think he wants to dock this pond. And that was the starting pond for Villese. You know, the way Villese is positioned, he could have also easily gone this way. This was a little bit further. But let's see what Classicpro's done with his scouting. Classicpro has scouted this dock, and he has not seen a dock. So I assume he scouted this pond, excuse me, and did not see a dock. So he assumes that Villese is elsewhere. Did wall a little bit, but both going for really fast feudal ages. Fishing ships protected for now. Let's see how Villese chooses to fish, because if you're expecting a sneak, let's say you're vulnerable to it. Whoa! It's a moon sailing fishing ship. That's a new one. Thanks, DE. Yeah, what you want to do is you want to send one fishing ship to a fish on the side. So honestly, he doesn't have a deep fish here, and he wants to be on deep fish. But he probably should consider just sending the fishing ship over here to scout in a second. Now, especially if he sees villagers on gold. Let's see what the scouting looks like. Here you have Villese attacking the Vill. That Vill will make it back to the TC, so Villese should run. Villese does do so. Did Villese scout this? He scouted it. That's epic. Yeah. You see the feudal time? Again, wow. Again, the moon sailing ship. And now he immediately adds a second dock. What's especially annoying about Persians, and I mentioned it earlier, is the fact that these docks just never die. This dock has more HP than the Hun Town Center does over here. 3,600 HP. So it's really tough to be able to know how to judge it. They might just make one fire galley and keep it in there. And you might make 6 to protect your pond. And then they're just like, debated. Way to go. You invested all your resources to defend a pond I didn't really care about. See Spearman coming forward right now for Villese. He does not have a... Yeah, he doesn't have a stable. But he does have his scout here. And this is good. This is similar to game 1. Classicpro had that situation where he snuck in with the scout. But Classicpro with good micro. House wall this. Such great play from Classicpro, though he is still exposed on this side for now. He might get the walls down. Over on this side, we see a dock for Villese. So if he loses fishing ships in the north, he'll have the other side. Good approach. Remember, on the Hidden Cup cross, there's a lot less on each pond compared to the ranked ladder map for lakes. I guess you could... I don't really know the difference between a pond and a lake. I was talking to my friend about this the other day. Like, at what point does a pond become a lake, or does a body of water become a lake? It's surely based on size, probably not the amount of fishing ships that you can make. But here you can call it 4 ponds, and we'll just call it a pond based on the fact that there's not as many fishing ships. The size don't matter? Is it depth? Well, okay, I'm about to learn something. We didn't want to Google it. But who needs Google when you have Twitch chat? I think a lake also connects to a river or some other water source. Interesting. So what you're saying is 4 lakes isn't even 4 lakes then, if we're being accurate. This is interesting. That scout was able to run down here. I don't know why Classicpro made the houses like this. But that villager's going to die now. And, oh, surprise! The fire ships hop out. And, uh-oh, double surprise. Boom! Nice demo for Villese. Villese defending on water nicely right now. Also was able to kill that villager, which would probably repair some ships. All right, well, thanks, chat. Now I know. Villese, he has 2 ponds. He might even get a 3rd here in a second. And, oh, boy, that was an important moment. Because Villese walled in the villager. The villager could have died to the scout, even though the scout's relatively weak. But wait a sec. I think Villese just realized... Ah! Ah! What happened there? Okay, I think what happened there was Villese deleted the palisade. I don't think it was taken out. I think it was deleted, and he tried to attack, and the villager wouldn't attack. But I could be wrong. I could be wrong. It kind of looked like the villager didn't want anything to do with that, which might be due to the fact that there was an attack there. As opposed to him trying to attack and it bugging out. But that's a big moment. And Classicpro has docked to the south. Both players will cook up to Castle Age. But look at this dock. It's still standing. This is what's crazy about Persians. It kind of looked like a bug with the way the villager was moving. But it's hard for me to say. I'd have to rewatch that moment. But Classicpro now having that scout alive too is helpful. You can see that Villese is over here. And this villager's on the move. Villese also used his 1 HP scout to scout the fact that there's a dock here for Classicpro. So players playing into the ponds. I honestly think the only reason that Classicpro ejected his fire here was so this dock would stay up. That would be my guess, because he's not going to kill too much in this situation, but now his dock's not being attacked, and he might have it up a bit longer, get a bit more life out of it in the future. I don't see a barracks. Oh, there it is. Never mind. Bad time to say that. Classicpro making a barracks. Interesting how much food Classicpro has. And banga banga bongo. for Villese. 3 archer ranges, and then a stable. So this will be cav archers, maybe a knight or 2. But that stable's probably going to be out, so Villese can research bloodlines. With bloodlines, then he will be able to... Oh, the scouting. Oh, wow, what a play. The archer's going over. This is so good from Villese. Wow, the value from a 1 HP scout. To scout in the south, and then also scout that this villager's here, and then just send over an archer and a spearman. Disgusting. Now the scout can die, whatever. It's not a big deal. Just get that dock denied, and yeah, he's good. So yeah, I expect a lot of cav archers, and I expect Classicpro to struggle against that if he doesn't have the food income to make camels or knights. I was wrong in the north. It looks like the dock will go down. So it's like 2.5 pond control for Villese. I'll give him a half because he's at least contesting down here. Remember, Classicpro won't be aware of that. But he is making a fire galley anyways. Cav archers on the way. Wood lines are rangeable. Classicpro switching into farms rather early. It's an approach you can take because eventually the fishing ships will run out. It's very much like our real world. If we keep treating our planet the way we do. That's not sarcasm, by the way. Just an FYI. Got way too real. But chain barding's on the way right now. Classicpro will have camels with chain barding armor. That's enough against 3 cav archers. But chain barding takes some time. Like to see more farms for Classicpro. I'm sure he wants to farm around the mill, but the mill is kind of in harm's way right now. This is kind of funny. These houses are going down. But I like the patience from Classicpro. Well, I do and I don't, right? He's waiting for chain barding, but the longer he waits, the more cav archers will be massed. And so he's like, shoo fly, don't bother me. And Villese says, hey, that's fine. I actually need to mass these things. So husbandry is a good tech here, just so you can catch up to the cav archers. Chat, did you happen to see Villese get husbandry yet? Classicpro will re-wall this and is just missing Villese's main force. Villese saw the camels, though, and Villese, thinking he could break in here, is going to see another palisade. No ballistics yet. It looks like the cav archers have husbandry. That is a lot of cav archers, and Classicpro's worried now. And I'm worried for him. Camels are great if you can get an engage on the cav archers, but when you're running up the hill and you only have 5 of them, I don't think this is ever going to be good enough. And the cav archer power with Huns working out. Villese with the lead, and Villese could deny the town center. This is snowballing like crazy. I'm still impressed with Classicpro's micro to be able to keep the villagers alive, and he didn't lose much there. He's now going to try and trap these cav archers. But Villese's micro has been good. Villese will probably send more CA forward. Villese forced to back away, though. Classicpro alive. And what's good now is this area is kind of protected in the back, and he can focus on farms. So he can definitely continue. I wonder if there's a point where you need to add scorpions here, or if you can actually justify continuing to make the camels. Down here, it looks like Villese is going to win this pond. But Villese is running out of food in some of these ponds too, so he'll need to farm, something he is doing. This is just a great series, man. It feels like we're watching a best of 7 decider. Because in theory, you should be looking at 2 like top 15 in the world players in the decider. Or top 16, I guess. It really feels like this best of 5 is like that. The way Classicpro played game number 1, and the way he's staying in this game, despite the amazing plays from Villese. And Villese could be trapped. Oh, boy. You can stack your units properly. It can be awkward for the camels to engage. Let's see. This is one of the more annoying things to face up against in Age, when you have the units to take a fight, but range units can stack like this. Still, though, it means the cav archers can't hit and run, so I'd expect the CA to go down. It's just only 2 units can engage at a time. I mean, that's okay value for Villese. Considering the cav archers are discounted for Huns and it only cost gold and wood. Here he comes with reinforcements. Does not have ballistics yet. This cav archer will die, and Villese runs away. But it feels winnable for Classicpro. The camels have done an alright job, and long term, I could definitely see Huns having a problem against Siege Ram and Halberdier and Heavy Camel, all the options that Persians have It says there's 30 military for Villese, but he only has 18 cav archers. Still does not have ballistics. But should look towards that upgrade soon, I think. We probably see university now. It's going to be right here. University. 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 Damn it. Okay. All right, fine. I'm not going to look good today. That's fine. University. Ah, you almost had us. He's going to do it when we look away. Okay, never mind. Universe. Ah, damn it. He already had it. Well, that makes sense why I got it wrong then. If I would have known that, I would have surely guessed it would have been in that location. All right, ballistics on the way. And good mass, but maybe not any longer. Ballistics is on the way right now, but this is going to be a massive trap for Classic Pro. And there's also a hill bonus. It's really weird, but those cav archers are dead, man. And getting value in taking out units that cost food and gold, but the fact that you need to mass CA and he's losing the mass right now is horrible for Villese. And the thing about in-game score is normally goes up very high. Actually, these fights continue to look better than I think they're going to be because of the fact he's stacking them like that. But anyways, as I look at how this game is going to play out, at least now Classic Pro will be able to compete with the next force. Maybe we could see Villese switch into pikemen and cav archers. But yeah, the reason Villese has a 1,000 score lead right now is largely due to the fact that, yes, he is ahead in military, but he's researched a lot of technologies, and he also has a lot of navy on water. And that can boost your score. Another stable for Classic Pro. Now, Villese has not been spending food. Almost looks to me like Villese soon wants to drop a defensive castle and then go up to Imperial to get cav archer upgrades. Classic Pro will need to take map control away from Villese before that happens. Cav archers missing out on Ville kills. Look at the eco KD. Isn't that incredible? 5-1 eco KD in this game. Like, how does that happen on a map where players fish so much with this much aggression? Even the regular KD is 37 to 36. Okay. Group of cav archers running away. Cav archers need to be saved. But the thing about camels, guys, is camels are not a great raiding tool. So, Villese is going to back away to his base. He's going to sit underneath the TC, and the camels can't really hang out here. It looks like relic number 1 being brought in for Villese. 4 relics on land, and 1 relic in each pond on this version of the map. There is an overchop there. Villese noticing that is going to plug the gap with palisades. There's another overchop. You can't house wall with Huns. Can't make houses. Oh! Oh, God. That was clutch. Because that would just be annoying, right? The camels could maybe engage against your CA. Maybe the Villes. Palisades don't last all that long even against camels at this stage, but still. Now, Classic Pro is probably realizing that the enemy is up to Imp. Saving his res to do the same, but there's one resource he's not collecting, and I think he's just transferred to it, and that's stone. And I don't know. Yeah, there he is. The fact that he won't have a defensive castle when that pressure comes in from the cav archers is really going to suck for him. He's got to click up now. Les happy to get relics with the monks. Got a conversion there, chasing these down. Are we at a point now where the cav archers are massed enough where the camels need to get out of here? I think this might be a mistake from Classic Pro. I know that he wants to keep Villese on the run because Villese will be an imp faster than him. But this is real big waste of your cav archers. Or not your freaking cav archers. You know what I meant. I meant camels. Castle in the middle hill. Well, it doesn't directly deny anything from Classic Pro, but what it does do is it serves as a launching pad for the next attack for Villese. I actually like this for the first castle, and then the future castles will go something like here and here. Because you could play passive, but you're already taking map control. I think make it awkward for Classic Pro to push out. Classic Pro, I think, was late with his buildings, as people are suggesting. He's going to make stone walls now, which I believe is a good play in this area. Assuming it gets down. Now the upgrades are coming in. Oh, man, look at the score now. This is ridiculous. Villese, 170 pop, 48 military, 35 of that being Cav Archers. Heavy Cav Archer on the way. Bracer already in. Parthian already in. And Chemistry. I mean, all the upgrades are coming in. And the Camels, they're not going to be upgraded for 60 seconds. And this is Deja Vu. This is probably the best chance that Classicpro has at whittling down the Cav Archer numbers. But the amount of camels you would have to lose to even have a chance of winning that fight is just far too high. 6 series. And I love the fact we're seeing Cav Archers be successful here. And Villese ties it up. What a game, guys. Like I've gotten kind of used to the whole underdog versus you know, like the underdog versus a player we're expecting to win in each series thing with the qualifier. And I went into game 1, of course, thinking that Villese would probably steamroll Classicpro. I did say 3-0 or 3-1. But Classicpro's level in this game, despite falling behind very, very high, and Villese, after getting ahead, just kept his lead. He was able to take control of the pawns. He was able to defend where he needed to in an awkward spot against Persians. He masked enough Cav Archers. He microed well. He macroed well. And we have ourselves a series. Best of 5, of course, to see who makes it to the 7-game decider next weekend. Huns get a win. 65 kills for Villese. It feels like so much more happened in that game. The beauty of it, though, is that you can make so many of them. 49 largest army for Villese. Now, Classicpro was later to Imp because he had to spend all that food on camels. So I'm thinking maybe you could make Scorpions as well? But Scorpions are clunky. Scorpions are slow. Unless you have 4 or 5 of them, they don't even feel all that strong against Cav Archers. So it's a tough spot to be in. But more wood and more gold collected for Villese makes sense when he had the Cav Archers. As you can see here, pretty even game, all things considered. It's just the massive Cav Archers that won Villese the game. Okay, guys. Game number 3 will be on one of Classicpro's home maps. This will be the first time that he will have to show a home map, because he did not need it against Zupi in round 1. He has slopes and he has bay. Why is bay not capitalized? Overlay guy. Is bay not important enough to get a capital B? What? That's funny. Anyways, we'll be in. I think it's going to end up being slopes. Might as well just rename the damn map Pants with the way Twitch chat's going. I'm excited. I still don't believe that Classicpro could beat Villese in a best of 5. That's how good Villese is. It scores 1-1. I still just can't believe it. I can't believe it until I see another game 1 by Classicpro. So it's game 3. It is slopes. Interesting civilizations. We did see one of these civs used earlier in the day. Connect, capture rage, and let's go. Mongols for Villese. 6 civ for this map. And then we have the Britons for Classicpro. Now, both of these civs do and don't fit this map for various reasons. I think Mongols fit this map because you have extra hunt. Right? You've got 2 boars, which is standard like on any map. But then on the sides, you have extra hunt. So instead of prioritizing the shorefish, take advantage of the Mongol hunt bonus. Hunt away, get that food, fast feudal age, lots of pressure, yada, 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 yada. And then if the game continues, there's stone. But the problem with Mongols is they tend to be a very fast starting civ if they don't capitalize on their advantages there. In the mid game, there's nothing truly special about them. In late game, Siege Ram, Siege Onager, Hussar, Mangudai is what they want. Can't make any of that in Feudal Age and Castle Age. So for Villese, I think he'll need to get ahead. He already is going to bring in a boar. So this is before making a lumber camp. He's going for a lot of food at the start. Over here, you have Classicpro. And Classicpro is Britons. Now, Britons lack mobility, which I think is going to be tough on this map. But what you can do on this map is pressure the middle. There's a lot of stones, lots of golds here. So I think it's important for Classicpro to get walls down. And I expect Classicpro to take a lot less of a risk. I don't think he'll be competing for the sides too frequently. So I could see this game being something like Classicpro going for a slower feudal age with walls. Villese going very fast feudal with man-at-armor scouts to pressure. Might turn into Villese towering or Villese even stealing these resources, I'm not sure. But I would prefer Mongols because I don't think this is a map that you should have a lot of success on if you wall. I also said that before MBL picked Vikings against Indians against Leary in a show match, and MBL walled his whole starting base by minute 7. So I'm not saying it's not possible. I'm just saying that I don't think you should be able to do that. Oh my god, look at these gold spots though for Classicpro. Oof. This is honestly one of the worst gold spots I've seen for this map. Because typically, a lot of your reds are going to be exposed, but normally you're going to have one safe gold. This gold here is a lot better for Villese. Combine that with the fact he's already milled. He delayed his lumber camp and is just chopping straggler trees for wood. And Villese is going for a very, very, very fast feudal age. T90, can mass longbow beat mass Mangudai? Yes, but no. So the issue with longbow is that they're a lot slower and Mangudai are a lot faster. So it's also why I feel Britons are worse here. If you get 25 crossbowmen with Britons, you have 8 range in Castle Age and you can destroy so much. But if you have 25 crossbow and you don't have the lead, then you're just going to get raided on the sides and you have to react to it constantly. So, kind of depends. I don't think longbow are realistic. Then again, we saw longbow earlier today in the Overtaken Dark series on this map. Villese, I believe, is about to click up once that lumber camp's complete. Villese will have the buildings. This will be 18 population up. This is nuts. And plenty of food coming in, too. Still has sheep. I think Mongols are a top tier civ pick for this map. And in many ways might even counter what we're seeing here from Classicpro. Because if you're experienced in this civ matchup on something like Arabia, Britons love to drush. And I actually see the militia are on the way now. But Britons love to drush, but it feels weird to drush someone who's probably going to be in feudal age by the time your militia arrive. Ho, ho, ho. See, Villese scouted the barracks. So he might be sensing this. On the bright side, at least he brought in a lot of food already. And on the bright side, there's only 2 militia and a scout. I think you really need the 3rd militia in there. Okay, Villese is going to eat the deer. He's like, let me finish my food, man. I wonder if Villese is going to stay here. Because he could just continue to collect food. Normally, this is just meant to delay. But I think against Mongols, it'd be ideal to get a Vil pick or 2 here. I just don't see that being possible with the villagers being loomed. I played a practice game against somebody who wanted some help. And I helped them by not getting loom with Mongols. And I got drushed and I lost 3 Vils. Because I figured I'm going to be up so fast, I can be greedy. And I could just get loom after I'm in feudal. You know, like people do that from time to time. It wasn't a great practice game for them because I was just dead immediately. This is what I thought might happen. Villese with the stable is going to send scouts forward and he's going to try and punish this passive play from Classicpro. More like passive pro, am I right? So scouts will come out for control. And then towers will go up. Notice on the other side, Villese is taking tier 2. And that scout's already on the way from the stable. But isn't this such a... I guess Classicpro went into this wanting to go Drush FC, but it just feels like such a weird decision when your gold is so far forward. 1 tower and the enemy could easily deny your gold. I mean, with Britons, what on earth do you do without that? He also only made 2 militia. Could have had 3, which could have been more effective. So that I also have to question. And look at the way Villese is looking at this. He scouted this gold. He sees this gold. I mean, he sees everything. He's gotten completely surrounded. And I think the way the map's situated, he should know there's not going to be a gold in there. Classicpro now just going to make some house walls behind. And I guess he has to go to stone. He could go over here if he scouted that. There's always a gold and a stone on either side. Like Villese has a gold and then the stone's on the other side. Okay, annoying little drush movement again, and run away. Idle time, but that's about it. And, oh, she wants to die. She wants to die. Lady, you're crazy. Don't die. Oh, don't block your buddy, Militia. Yeah, boink. She dead. All right, so a Vil kill. And in 50 seconds, Classicpro will be in the next stage. I mean, he hasn't lost villagers. I'm honestly just so confused what his game plan is from here on out. Very, very confused by that. Here you have the Militia engaging again. Man, is this annoying. Imagine if he had 3. Another Vil could go down. Ah! Nope. Nope. I'd like to see Classicpro send a Spearman there. Like, honestly. Send a Spearman there? Okay, Villese is going to send the Villager home, which is smart. Spearman would be a funny play. Do you just go eco upgrades and feudal age now if you're Classicpro? See an archer range, but he can't take gold for archers. He's getting his wood upgrade. He seems to be very confused. This can happen, though. You go into a game wanting to play it a certain way, and then bad things happen, and that's what makes Age of Empires great. You've got to adapt. Like, I think we're a little coddled nowadays. We do a good job with map scripts. But, you know, as a community, you see a relic 10 tiles closer to one person, and you always see one person like, the relics are unfair! Ah, the relics! You know, like, that's going to change. Like, you don't need to play the game, right? So, like, in this case, Classicpro, I feel, I mean, he was really screwed over by this gold. There's no question. But he also probably chose a strat in the first place, which shouldn't be super successful on this map. But that was easy. He just batters down the tower. He had the Spearman to protect the villagers. And Villese had only had scouts out there, so now he just re-walls it.
Yay?
Again, this is my point. You can't just say, ah, the map sucks. The map sucks. I'm out. GG. You play the game. He's got gold now, and Villese is going to be kicking himself. He should have fully walled in that tower, I think.
Yay.
Now, if he tries to tower this, I think a counter tower will come for Classicpro, who's going to have 2 archer ranges producing a mix of skirms and also spearmen right now. Maybe Villese can't comfortably end up towering there. Let's look at Villese's main eco. He only has 2 farms. He still has the berries remaining. While he had the fast food income, it's not a long-term plan for him.
Ready.
He's adding skirms from the forward range. And I think these Vils are just going to take these resources now. It seems to be where they're going.
Mandato.
Something Classicpro has not even scouted, dude. He didn't even scout his own side. So you wouldn't be able to know if Villese is taking the deer out there. But that would make sense. You could even make a tower here if you're really worried. But for now, I think you can just protect that area with military. There's not much of a concern for Villese either that these Vils are going to get hit, because I think pretty soon they're going to be finished with that food. And he's also walling at home, so he can honestly just keep an eye on what Classicpro is doing, this force, and just try and keep these villagers working. 14 military versus 7. This game is incredibly awkward, and there's the tower for Villese. This is a good move. Very good move. And now fletching coming in, something that is already in for Classicpro. In an ideal world, you use your skirms to take out the spearmen, and then you use your scouts to take out the skirms, but it's one too many units in there. And Villese just doesn't have enough right now. I think he's looking towards Castle Age. This is an overtaken home map, yes. And now we see the... Now, why did Villese shoot all the deer? It's weird. Maybe it was a misclick, but yeah, Villese happy to take the food. It feels to me like Villese is going to have a faster castle time because of the hunt, and also because he's invested into other areas of eco, but it's 19 military against 10 right now. And Classicpro's fully walled. What do you think about Villese stonewalling right now, chat? Is that crazy? Because that would be terrifying in the next stage. Like, I was thinking maybe stonewall the one side of your base, and then maybe tower here. Tower here, and then stonewall everywhere else. Okay, this has been rewalled. Villese is looking for this army. Here comes Classicpro. Classicpro's making this work. Ooh, I just The pop filter on my mic. See, I talk with my hands sometimes, so I'm moving my hands around. And I smack the pop filter towards my own face and hit myself in the nose. Sorry if that made a noise. Is Villese gonna die to this? He can make a market that... oh, God! Panic time! Meanwhile, over here, Villese is knocking on the door, and we have a tower from Classicpro. Okay, houses are not to live in. Houses are for walls. Good house walling there. But there's enough archers in there for Classicpro where these villas should die. That's the thing. Like, Classicpro's got to get his archers closer. Yeah, exactly. And now the skirms need to come back. The skirms need to get armor. Armor's on the way for Villese. Villese with the very creative house wall and market wall just to buy time. Can he buy enough time? Classicpro is yet to click up to Castle Age. Oh, misclick there could hurt. Meant to click the Vill, and Classicpro's in, but the skirms have been brought back home. Phew, what a moment that was. That was a really awkward moment for Villese, who, by the way, has villagers over here, and Classicpro just scouted it. Oh, man. I think at this point, Villese, you're already ahead. It's far too risky to do this. We know that Classicpro didn't have that scouted till now, but maybe getting a little too greedy there, Villese. Does have the villagers on this side still. In terms of villagers killed, Classicpro has been able to kill 2 villagers, and he has not lost a single vill in this game. Classicpro is Britons, making archers out of 2 ranges. He's on the way to Castle Age. I mean, that's the spot that you would want to be in. I just don't think you would want to be this late to the next age. Good micro from Villese, using the scouts on the skirms. Then microing away from the spearmen. Classicpro's just going to run home now. But Elite Skirm already being on the way is a pretty big deal here. Classicpro has 14 archers, and that would be countered by Elite Skirm. But you do have extra range with Britons. Could maybe justify adding a stable to go for a knight or 2 against the skirms. We'll see a Vill pulled this way to re-wall this for Classicpro. Well done. And again, I just have to say to you guys, I am enjoying this series so much. It has produced so many good moments. Rewatch game number 1. Rewatch game number 2 if you want. Ah, there's a hole! Oh, boy. Oh, boy, that's not good. So much for good moments, am I right? Oh! Okay. That's not bad, actually. Buys a little bit of time. You lose 1 villager after killing 2 in this game, and now you have your own ranged units. Getting hit in the woodline sucks, and the fact he hasn't expanded sucks, but... will be Elite Skirm and Crossbow against just Elite Skirmisher for Villese. Also, it's 24 military versus 17 right now. And the second armor upgrade is not in for Villese, though Villese will have the hill. I see the university. I mentioned maybe mixing in knights. I'm really glad the Classicpro didn't. I like this approach from him. Because he has a fine mix of crazy numbers of crossbow and elite skirm. So you see Villese mixing in knights now. The knights don't seem like they're going to work all that well with the crossbowmen out there. What's Villese doing economically? Second TC in the middle. And every set, players are playing this so differently. A lot of other players today were trying to take the sides. I've had that happen where I take the sides and then I lose all my stones and golds in the middle, so it's tough. And I think these skirmishers, these Mongol skirmishers, it's just not a convincing spot to be in with Mongols. Even though you're up against Britons making archers, long term, do you really want to be making skirms? And Classicpro is just going to use his own skirms against Villese's skirms. But Villese does have good upgrades. Villese also has the knights in here. Nice TC for Classicpro. 49 villagers for both. Crazy economy. Crazy balance. I cannot believe this is round 2. I cannot believe a 36 seed is taking games to Villese like this. Classicpro is truly impressing me here. Because Villese comes down to not just this set, but the qualifier as someone who is pretty much expected to qualify. And yet Classicpro is able to do this. And I don't think it's a massive drop in form from Villese. Because every game I've seen from Villese, I think he's been playing good today. This really shows you the amount of high-level players we have. Overtaken and Dark earlier. That was a round 2 matchup where they were seeded as the underdog. They were able to make it, and then they faced up against each other earlier. I won't spoil that one because you guys will probably want to watch that. One of the best games of the tournament in that set. Siege Workshop now for Classicpro. This is something he could have maybe gone for earlier, but look at the timing on it. Like, this is a ridiculous game. Villese knocking on the door with the Knights. That'll be house walled out. Lots of micro battles in the middle. Someone just said we hit 10k subs. Did we? Did I miss some gifted subs? I see Fiverr gifted 5. Thanks, Fiverr. Fiverr0101. MVP. I honestly, that was one of the dumbest things I've said today. Not that you're not an MVP, Fiverr, but I'm pleasantly surprised with how good this game is, and I almost don't want to cast. I just want to watch and enjoy it. But the Knights just slid in here somehow. And this is probably the first big mishap with Classicpro. It's such a small little thing, right? He has the tools to take out these Knights. But the Knights just snuck in here somehow. Meanwhile, though, we have Crossbowman going this way. And Crossbowman leaving the front of Classicpro's base. And one villager down. Villese instant reaction. Skirmishers being brought back. It's not ideal. This is just a lot of messy idle time. I see there's a TC over here, though, for Classicpro. In the middle, we have Mangonels fighting. Here, the skirmishers are chasing down the crossbows. Classicpro is to run away. Mangonels could be useful for both of them. Oh! Big shot from Villese and the massive shot! He deleted it! He deleted it! And for some dumb reason, even if there's no hill bonus, if you delete your Mangonel after the shot, you do more damage. There's more spread on the shot. I've complained to the devs about it. I don't think it should be a thing. But I'll tell you what, it's a risk to do it. And now, Classicpro has a Mangonel. And Classicpro has the numbers advantage if he wants to use his ranged units. 40 ranged units against 20 right now. That was a good shot from Villese. I can't help but feel like he should have kept his Mangonel alive. Like, was the delete really worth it? Like, what if you get another shot off? This Mangonel for Classicpro doing work and so many headshots. My word. I see +2 coming in, and there's another decent shot for Villese. But I see Chain Barding coming in for Villese as Villese wants to switch into Knights. But when there's this many crossbowmen on the field for Britons, this is dangerous. And Villese has done a great job with this range. I don't know if it's intentional, but it's annoying. I see crossbowmen going down. Look at this. Yeah, that's intentional. And also that Knight has been annoying. And here comes the Ukrainian to the left side. Now, there's a worry here that he could get trapped because he doesn't have his siege to accompany him. And I see a TC going up for Villese on that left side. This is what I brought up earlier about Britons. They're really good in a snowball situation. So do you want to be going for side raids? Or do you want to be snowballing a push in the middle? And here I think Villese is going to send the Knights this way. He wants to get in again, or maybe just take out these Vills, taking out the tower. Speaking of villagers, oh! It was a good move for Villese to add this TC, but maybe too little too late. 95%. 98%. TC goes up. Both players have lost some villagers over the last few moments. These Knights just got in here to kill some Vills. The crossbowmen still have to deal with this. I mean, the first 15 minutes of this game, there were not many villagers that went down, but now villagers are falling, and Classicpro using the crossbow. That's good overall play. He was weakening that Mangonel. He was going to kill it, but Villese is going to repair that now. The skirms are here for the crossbowman. Is there a hole there? There's a hole there. Oh my god, just go for Vil picks, Classicpro. Look at everything that's back here. There's gold, there's farms. The same thing that Villese just experienced when he broke in. Though I suppose the gold's not back there. We've talked about that. What a game, and there's 42 military for Classicpro. I'd love to see some type of a counterattack in the middle now, because this is only 12 of the 40-some military that he has. Maybe ram down that range that's next to your base as well, because Villese has been frustrating with that. Look at the resources for Classicpro. 36 farms, 23 on golds. Can't help but feel like Ballistics would have helped Villese. Villese has missed so many of his skirm volleys, but Classicpro's micro is disgusting. The value he's gotten here. And another force getting in. Classicpro is doing it. Classicpro could click up to Imp here in a second. A big moment. Villese is most definitely behind. He's got 1,500 stone in the bank. A way to stay alive in this game would be get big Mangonel shots and then drop forward castles. Right here in the middle. Right where it all counts right now. Not going to be easy to do that. Classicpro sees it. Maybe he doesn't see it, actually. Now he notices. Has his own Mangonel. 20 crossbows on the field for Classicpro. 3 minutes away from upgrades. Good shot there from Villese. Now, in that instance, he deleted because the game forgets about the hill disadvantage. If you delete your Mangonel after the shot. So many small details in Age of Empires. If you're new, hi, by the way. We know it's complicated. It's what makes the main event of Hidden Cup more fun when we don't even know who the players are. Just noticed that these vills have been on this stone this whole time. I think that starts as 4 tiles. So that's where all that stone came from. I mean, Villese needs to start building some damn castles, but he doesn't feel like... Honestly, if you place a castle at this point, it's just a target for trebuchets. Once Classicpro is an imp, and Classicpro getting more villager kills now with a small group of crossbows. Such a smart move. Like, if you castle here, it keeps you protected from the crossbows, but then Classicpro will castle and treb you down. So it's really not easy to know where to castle. I think you should castle the sides. But how do you protect the middle? Wow. 50 seconds away from upgrades. I just don't see what Villese can do right now, guys. The 4th seed. I think Villese is just as shocked as Zupi was in round 1. Zupi said, and I quote, and Zupi said it, you know, in good fun when he saw the bracket for the qualifier. He said, it's a shame I'm going to have to beat my buddy Villese. Again, it's in good fun. He said that, implying that he would roll through Classicpro and then meet Villese, where he knew it would be a tough matchup, I'm sure. But he said that, and then he got 3-0'd by Classicpro, and now Villese is here. The score's 1-1, and Classicpro, in my opinion, has a massive lead. Because he can treb everything that Villese has in the middle. If Villese is going to win this, he needs to expand, and he's doing it. Castle here. He knows he'll lose the front, so he's castling here. You could even castle on this side to protect this stone. And look, he's doing it. All the right steps are coming in, but... Oh, man, that castle was almost denied. I'm just wondering what that eco is going to look like. Like, he's probably going to have the vills, but all of his farming eco is in the middle for the most part. He won't have food. Speaking of upgrades and resources, Classicpro, get Arbalest, maybe? Maybe? I'd like to see Classicpro be aware that he'll be open on the sides and start to expand there and lock that down. Because if Villese were to get to even just Hussar, this can be raided, as can all of this in the middle. So, I don't know. I guess Classicpro forgot the Arbalest upgrade. That TC goes down. This is the Imperial Age TC for Villese. But something tells me as Classicpro micros down a Mangonel with just crossbowmen, still no Arbalest. Something tells me that he's probably not going to be able to take the Imp TC out. I mean, he sees the starting TC, and that's your best chance for it being the Imp TC if you think they're upping. If he were to click that now, it'd be really damn close. Oh, he's going 1 on each TC, I think. I mean, no, I think he's gone both for this TC. I'm not sure. Now Arbalest is on the way. There's currently 4 castles for Villese. Wait. Did I miscount 3? Sorry, I failed basic math in school. But Villese has got a chance because he still has the vills. And the way he set himself up here, it's very difficult to kill him. And now you have knights and skirms running in. Now what happens is Classicpro's focus is taken away from Villese's base. And it's taken to this area now. So these moments really do mean a lot. And oh my god, that TC almost went down. Before Imp, it looked like Villese might have been repairing that. But evacuate! Evacuate! Look at all these villagers run away. There's so much golden stone that Classicpro can take in the middle. And though Villese has the Villes, they're not collecting food to really make much. I think Classicpro will just shift his focus with his trebs to all the castles now. And how do you counter it? This force ran over here. Props to Villese for that. That's pretty much all he has right now. And Classicpro just needs to go from castle to castle to castle to castle. This castle will go down next. This castle will probably go down next. I love this positioning for Classicpro, so we can just make more trebs. This is sick. This is an insane result. Also, very smart. This is a nice move from Villese. He's patrolled his knights on no attack stance. So they dodged some of the Arbalest shots, but yeah, in the end, that gets cleared up anyways. Here, villagers are being chased down. 180 population for Classicpro. 56 military. This map is not all about Indians. This map is not all about Mongols. It's not all about the hunt and the shorefish. And this qualifier is not all about the top seeds, apparently. This is insane. You just can't survive from this. I don't think. Unless he has a massive raid with Rams Hussar. But he doesn't. Has he researched Lycav? I don't think he's researched Lycav. Yeah, the biggest thing here for me is that Villese is not playing bad Age of Empires today. He's playing great Age of Empires today. Like, and he's been training a lot. I know he's been playing training games, but if you think of his ranked games recently, getting wins off of some players in the top 8 who are already in the main event of Hidden Cup 3, Classicpro is just on another level right now. Or as Dave would say, next lever. And it's just dominance of another level. 200 population for Classicpro, and realizes it might be exposed on this side. Castles this side. Realizes every single time where to be, where to push, where to defend. Unbelievable. I don't care what else has happened. I don't even care at this point if let's say Villese wins the next 2 games and somehow comes back here. Classicpro has been the biggest standout in the qualifier for me. There might be a few names I could bring up of people who underperformed. But as far as overperforming, Classicpro, even if he deletes his starting TC in the next 2 games, I would say that. Really good games here. And Villese is trying because he's probably surprised. He's trying because he knows how strong Mongols can be with siege against Britons. This is his last chance. Rams and Trebs and Skirms. He's not trickle trebbing. He's got 2 Trebs here. He's going to give it a go. Classicpro kind of had an idea that something must be coming. Classicpro has a lot of his pop in the middle of the map right now, so he's got to bring that over here. And it's not too unlikely that Villese could take this castle out. But I think it is unlikely that Villese can do much more than that. Classicpro maybe making the mistake of making the stables on the front. He'll mix in Lycav, and I think even with the amount of ranged units he has coming over, he's just going to end up clearing this out. Chemistry wasn't even in for Villese. And Mongol skirmishers are very weak because they lack the final armor upgrade. So, yeah, they take the castle out. I think Classicpro will just make stables elsewhere and castles elsewhere. He's got so much control over this game. And he seems to confidently even be sending his trebs forward already. Nice job from Villese to cockroach, as we say. And just stay alive despite everything going wrong around you. But this is game over. Dang. I cannot believe what I'm witnessing right now. This is an epic performance.
Ready.
Look at the scouting for Classicpro. He sees everything, except for maybe this. If the game was closer, that could have been an area where, as Villese loses these trebs, he could have raided from with Hussar or something. Castles are going down. The stables are going down. Now, I don't know Villese is someone who typically... I don't think Villese is much of a tilter. But if you play on in this position, do you think that maybe there's some frustration there? Or some shock, at least? Because this game is pretty over. He's backed into a corner. He might not be able to believe what's happening right now. He's going to try his best. This army that Classicpro already has will clear what Villese has That castle will go down. The home map and the epic strategy from Classicpro is going to pay off. He'll be 1 win away from making to the best of 7 decider that no one ever expected for him. No one ever expected him to make it to. Villese! I didn't even know he had bills on gold here still. He's trying to get back to a starting TC. Dude. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. No. Classicpro sees all, and the game ends. What a series this is. Wow. Well, I was also surprised after game 1, and then Villese responded. But Classicpro has brought it today. Probably a level we've never, ever seen from him before. Villese has to win the next 2 games, or he is not going to be a part of Hidden Cup 3. This is a player who is a part of most previous Hidden Cups and is seen as a top 16 players in most people's eyes. And in the last big tournament, Villese knocked out Viper. So just to put things in perspective, despite the settings being different, he knocked out who many see as the GOAT. And now he's down 2-1 to Classicpro. I promised I was going to gift some subs. I will gift some subs. Thank you guys very much for being here. There's many follows. There's people hyped to watch the games, which is really what we want. I've not been able to get to all the people who have supported with Prime and gifted subs today and resubs. But remember, $1 for every sub this channel has. On the 21st of March, which is the final day of Hidden Cup 4, I will put $1 into the prize pool. So right now I'm putting $5,500 into the prize pool at the conclusion of Hidden Cup. So you're also contributing to what that main event will be. 204 kills for Classicpro. And it was all about the massive expos. And it was all about the center control initially for him. But I have to think back and say that Villese was a little sloppy with some small things. Now, the sloppiness only comes from the fact that Classicpro was playing out of his mind. But the tower that was on the gold, that probably should have been walled in hindsight, right? You wall in that tower, maybe Classicpro is never able to get to gold, and maybe that's a different game. But the economy, the control, the military, look at the numbers. Classicpro made every correct decision from Castle Age onwards. And I was dissing the strat, man. I thought that was GG. Mongols had the hunt. The Britain player didn't have gold. I mean, that felt like it was going to be game over. Classicpro said, nope, not today. And guys, we'll have game number 4 in just a second. What did I say? 25 subs? I don't know why people are saying 10K subs. I definitely didn't say 10,000 subs. Might need to get a loan for 10,000 subs. I'm going to give 25 subs. This is random. It's not rigged. Did I say 10K subs? I probably meant to say I'd give 25 subs if we hit 10K viewers, and I said 10K subs. I misspoke. I'm sorry. All right. I'm going to give 25 subs now. All right. This is random. I know it's a crazy time right now, and not everyone can afford to subscribe. Don't stress it. Just continue to show up. Thanks for watching. Here you go. You said give 25 subs if we hit 10K viewers. That's what I thought I said. Maybe people were just trolling me. Boom! There you go, guys. You have now gifted 2,100 subs to this channel. Thank you, Twitch. Okay, Robo. He's telling us we're ready to go into the next game. Chat. We've seen 3 games. I think a lot of people, including myself, are starting to believe. Who wins this best of 5? Who wins it? Yes. Villese or Classicpro? We're not going to do a poll because we have a game already. It will be on Gold Rush. I'm seeing a lot of Villese. I'm seeing a lot of Classicpro. This would be the biggest upset of the qualifier by far, with one of the biggest names crashing out if Villese were to lose the next game. Let's go. What? Kyphos? See, why? Listen, I'm very thankful. That's insane. I'm very thankful. But also, when you gift 50 subs after I give 25, I no longer look like the good guy. And how dare you? okay? You could have done that any other time. I've been live all day. And you're just going to be like, oh, yeah, I got a good bonus this year. I'm a good salesman. Boom. Thank you. Guy votes for the 50. Let's get some smiles in chat, or frowns, I guess, if you didn't receive one. Classic Pro playing as the Malians here. And Villese fighting for his tournament life, his qualifier life. Is playing as the Khmer in the blue. The map is Gold Rush, and on Gold Rush, you have 7 tiles of gold that is accessible or close to you. And the rest of the gold is spread out in the middle. This is very different from previous versions of Gold Rush. This version of Gold Rush, you could easily have both players in the middle, producing some good games. Example, Classic Pro could Town Center here in Castle Age. Villese could Town Center here in Castle Age. Yeah, 1 relic in the middle. You have other relics spread around evenly. Khmer Malian is a matchup that I recall seeing. I actually think we saw this a decent amount in... No, maybe it was Slavs and Khmer, actually, in Hidden Cup 3. But Malians have some great flexibility here. They can make knights. They can make camels. Every building that they create that costs wood is discounted. They have great monks. They even have faster researching university upgrades if they go into archers. I think it's just that Khmer are stronger with knights and siege. So, like scorpions, farms, light cav, knights, that's where Khmer tend to shine. So if this gets to be a game about spamming military, maybe Khmer would be better off there. Certainly not as flexible as the Malians. Poips, you're amazing. Poips has been around for so many Hidden Cups. Poips, thank you, my friend, for 25. Hallowed, thank you for the 5 gifted subs. Kasardet, thank you for the 2. Pasamio with 50 months subbed, chat. 50 months subbed. What was going on 50 months ago? Besides the fact we maybe had 100 people here. Pasamio says, next stream, Hidden Cup, nothing. Okay. Still stuck in the Forest Nothing maps, are we? I mean, this is essentially some type of a nothing map. Or nothing stream. It's been nothing but Hidden Cup 4 qualifiers. Look at these walls for Villese. Not taking any risks. Walling in Dark Age with 3 vills. This tells me Villese wants to be safe this time. And go for a fast castle. I was looking at the gold positions. I don't like this gold for Classic Pro. That'll be rough. So his golds really have not been great, but in the previous game, he said, you kind of have to play the game with what you get. An easy wall off here. This side of his base is very exposed. I suppose Villese could still go aggressive and still go fast feudal behind the walls, but it's not common to see. And, Scout losing HP to the town center. See, that's not great now if Classic Pro wants to wall, because you can't realistically use this scout to kill any vills if Classic Pro scouts around. Yeah, it's just, it seems like, I mean, Villese also is not walling in this gold, right? But it just seems like now that the walls are down, it looks very easy for Villese to pull off. But what I could actually do is zoom out and see how many palisades that takes. That takes 44 palisades. That's 44 times 2. That's how much wood. And then you got the houses in there as well. I think if you were to look at Classic Pro's walls, assuming he goes for the same, which I don't think he will, it would end up being around the same. It's just that Villese walled with 3 or 4 villagers already. And so it looks like an arena. Looks like a hideout map. Now, Classic Pro did not scout what the enemy's up to. And also doesn't even know where the enemy base is. So that hurts. And I think normally the enemy would be here. So that's a good spot. Some of these maps, the generation's a little wonky. Scouting being a lot more important than your average game. And, ooh, is Classic Pro going for scouts? This looks like a scout build. I'm curious on what he ends up doing when he realizes what Villese is up to. So, this is what I expect. Villese, full wall, fast castle. Very passive. But Khmer can have insane fast castle time. So by the time you get over here with anything of real value, Khmer could be in Castle Age making knights. You don't have to make the barracks before the stable. So this is a really good strat for Villese if he can pull off the uptime. I think Classic Pro, the correct play here would be to not make the stable. Instead, get Horse Collar and get Double Bid Axe and make a ton of farms just to try and compete with the uptime. Because if you make the stable, that's 100. Well, I guess with Malians, it's not 175. But anyways, it's a couple farms you can't build. Still hasn't found Villese. Still has not found this player. So maybe some good fortune for Villese when he needed it. Because he also pushed in his deer. He did move out the scout a lot earlier. Say that much. The scouting pattern for Classicpro, he's just like, what? Well, now he can kill that scout, though. Well, now he's not going to scout Villese, though. Now he has no clue what Villese is doing. He has to go based purely on the uptime and assume that Villese might be going for something. Okay, scout goes down. I mean, truthfully, I don't care where the opponent is on the map. You probably should have them scouted by 11:30, right? Say what you want about him correctly assuming it might be in certain spots, but you can't just assume. You've got to play the game, as we've been saying. Pay up, bro. Scouts are faster when you hit feudal, which is why Villese just lost that scout. And now, Classicpro's looking. He did make the stable. He did make a scout. And he does not see anything but walls at Villese's base. Villese is going to click up to Castle Age, and that is just nuts. Full wall. And we'll be in Castle Age at 14 minutes. And it's honestly the only civ that could do this. Because you don't have to build your buildings required to go to the next stage. The only civ. Any other civ would have to go for a blacksmith in a market. Or they'd have to go barracks, blacksmith, stable. And that's a lot of wood. But because you don't have to spend the wood on that, you just make farms. Or you can just justify walling up more. Crazy time. And I think this is a common strategy for hideout. This is a strategy you could even do in Arabia. I mean, look at the amount he's had to wall. You could justify this on Arabia, too, with Khmer. Maybe not as much, because on Gold Rush, you're closer to the edge of the map. Whereas on Arabia, you're further out, and you have to wall in more of a circle. Whereas some players wall in, like, an egg shape. But pretty much what I had said is going to happen here. Villese will be in Castle Age, and he'll make knights. And for Classicpro, he's got 2 scouts out there. He can scout the map, but there's not too much to really scout in this map. You know what's going to happen in the middle. You wanted to check the Palisades. Yeah, I can check Classicpro. 21 Palisades to wall this. And some of that he used buildings for. So like I said, it actually took a lot more resources to wall. Plus Villese ended up walling earlier. So it's not as if... I mean, both players have an exposed 3-tile gold. It's not as if one map is way better than the other here. It's just kind of hard to... Like, Khmer can also go for a really fast scout rush. So Classicpro was doing the safe thing. And making his own scouts. Now, Stone in the middle was more of a... I don't know if that happened in Hidden Cup 3. But that was something that the DE devs added to their versions. But they also have all the gold on one little hill, and it makes Gold Rush a lot less competitive. Alright, so castle time has come in. Knights are coming out. This will give Villese some control. Classicpro... This is funny. Knights are a little bit slower, and what? He's expecting a follow-up with villagers to maybe go out there to build a TC or something? And he weakens that villager. That was a nifty play right there. And there's wolves. Oh, tell me Villese scouted the wolves. No way! Woo, woo, woo. Well, the knights are there. Woo, woo, woo. Doink! Wow, villager down. Siege workshop for Villese. He wants to go for siege. And don't worry, he's got the knights there. Do you really want to go siege first when the enemy has a stable? I don't like that move. That doesn't make sense. What's siege going to counter here in the middle of the map? What do scorpions do? I think it's a correct move to make knights, but I think going for knights and a few monks would be good to take control. And then you can add TCs. We'll probably start adding a second TC to boom real quick. The wolves don't like Villese. Now, there's gaps where the wolves are in this map, Jen. You see how there's a gap here, and there's a gap... Well, usually the gap tends to be, like, in between the two players, but I guess because of the players' spots here, it hasn't happened. Yo, Villese, kill the wolf. The wolf has the hill bonus on you right now. Actually, it doesn't. But you just lost 20 HP to a wolf, Villese. I mean, if this continues, all Classic Pro needs to do to win the game is repair the barracks, and the wolf is just going to kill all the knights. Hello? Hello? All right, there's the scorpion. Now, that's what a scorpion can accomplish, I guess. If you're really pushing, you can deny walls and wood lines. Scorpion with Khmer, pretty sick. Okay, now the wolf is going to go down. But that knight lost 47 HP because of it. And now the camels are looping around for Classic Pro. And Classic Pro's got camels, which is a counter to knights. He'll initially have the hill. The wolf... Wait, who's the wolf attacking this time? The wolf is attacking Classic Pro. Okay, all is fair in the world. I was going to say, if it's attacking Villese again, you've got to be kidding me. And now the monk is there. So it's not the end of the world because Villese will be able to TC the middle, which he's doing. So controlling gold and also have a monk for conversion and healing. And in Knights v Camel situations, you need to just use your monks for conversions and you'll love life. And the conversion doesn't come in. And now there's another monk. And the conversion won't come in here either. You're kidding. With 2 monks and 5 knights against 6 camels, the knights and monks should do well there. But Classic Pro just dove in immediately. First conversion could have come in, because we know that monk conversions can be really fast sometimes, but I just think that's sloppy unit control from Villese. All right, makes it an interesting game, right? 2 TCs for Classic Pro. Classic Pro making a market here. Maybe to buy some food, I'm not sure. And Classic Pro needs to remember that it is possible to build a TC as well. I think your own monastery, though, is priority number 1 before any town centers. At home, Villese doesn't really have anything to defend from this, so he's going to make more houses. Should send whatever monks he has over this direction. I mean, I'd slightly prefer Classic Pro's current position, but this game is so damn close, despite the small mishaps there for Villese. Again, I say small mishaps. Okay, that house has HP on it. Yeah, he's fine. If anything, I think it would be a really cool move to go this way while you're house walling. Try and take this area of the map, because Classic Pro doesn't have the camels there anymore. And again, why the siege workshop before the monastery? I really don't understand this. And maybe I'm wrong. But a ram? I don't know if this is... Oh boy, a ram. He just wants to take out the TC. Okay, now at least it makes sense. I'm not saying it's a good move. Oh, he's got monks there. He has the monastery. I'm dumb. Okay. 3 monks. I think I even said he had monks. Les didn't know that. I think Maganel would make sense here to take out the scorpions. This group is still around and looping back over. 2 rams. Now, Villese is going to assume that those are Maganels. It would not be like Malians to make scorpions too. Maganels make sense for the monks, and they also make sense for the scorpions. You know what would be really sick here, chat, is Atonement. Because they both have monks. If Classic Pro could convert Villese's monks, and then use those monks, as well as what's left of his monks, to convert the knights. The camels kill everything else, and then the rams ram everything down, then it's GG. Crazy. Okay, there are the monks. See some Wololos here. The Maganel is there. Now, that Maganel will be useful because it will thwart the rams. Again, not loving the ram choice. And now you've shown that you're going to go for rams. As we see Villese adding barracks. I think Villese wants to go into pikemen. Pikemen with the knights, with the siege, with the monks. Lots of units on the field. Classic Pro has been mixing in knights. Classic Pro scouting. That's a new scout that's been added. Or actually, no, that scout's been with the group for a bit. We now see a 3rd TC for Classic Pro. What a series. What a game. Doesn't this kind of feel like it could have been round 1 in the tournament itself? In the tournament itself, we wouldn't know who was who. But, like, the level of this series is the closest it's felt like a main event. And it's only round 2. It really has been something special. Because in the qualifiers, we haven't seen many games where the population's consistently even. The decision-making is consistently even. And, you know, it's just how it goes. But In the main event, that tends to happen because the players are so close. And I see a transfer to stone. I think it's the same for Villese. Let's see. He's going to make a mining camp here. Both players thinking about an eventual castle, and I just saw redemption come in for Classicpro. That would mean he can convert enemy siege. Now repairing the rams, which looks really funny, actually. It's a pit stop. They're moving around, man. More monks on the way. Monastery very far forward here. Redemption now for Villese. That is, of course, much later. And that could make all the difference. The villager's still repairing. That monk could convert. Does not convert the Mangonel because the Mangonel's being pulled back. The Scorpion's being prioritized, which is a good move for Villese. The conversion does not land because of that. And now this conversion, again going for the Mangonel. Again, Villese microing. Conversion does not land. Conversion will not land again. Villese getting the better of this, but then at the same time losing the monastery. Now needs to use the monks and still hasn't shown the pikemen. What a freaking game. And now he needs to be careful he doesn't send his scorpions in close to the siege. My God. And by the way, they have to macro too. There's actual economies they've got to worry about here. So I will say, as that monk, what happened there? Villese is behind in vills, but is way ahead in military. It's like he stopped creating vills out of his TCs for those 5 minutes and just used all of his food for pikeman knight. I think that's a good move. On this, in this situation, on this map, I think it makes more sense to prioritize military over vills if you had to choose in that instance. Classicpro went for the classic balance that you would go for in, say, an Arabia game. But when military matters this much to protect the gold, I like that decision from Villese. What I don't like is how he's staying underneath the town center for so long. And, oh, a knight gets converted there. That could be rather annoying. Villese looking for conversions, won't get them. Also clicking individual units. We have a castle drop, and a Mangonel's about to pop. Needs to pop and fire. That's huge. Oh! God, Classicpro needed that. I thought he was going to try and eject it and hit these Mangonels, but he was just a little late to it. Castle on the way to protect that gold and protect that TC, but there's 2 Mangonels. Villese could take it to game 5 right here. Villese should take it to game 5 right here. The castle's at 69%. That's not nice. I think Villese just won the game. Mangonels are still going to hit this area. Classicpro's going to hop in and out of the TC. Wow. That's honestly insane. Micro with the villagers. And now we have... Whoa. What's happening here? And now some of the converted knights and new knights are going to take out the Mangonels. The monks are dying. The castle's going to go up. 85 bills versus 70. Classicpro still in this game. Dang. Ridiculous, man. Well, I'll tell you what. We get excited, but Classicpro, he's still going to be in Castle Age here. It's fascinating, too, because they have the same amount on food at home. That might change a little bit here. So it's not like Villese has a lot more farming eco. Just lack of investment. That was beautiful. I mean, it's just like... These compositions are so tough to control, man. Monks, pikemen, camels, knights, siege. So much of it depends. And what's really fun about what's upcoming is I think that... Well, initially I was thinking Villese would go into Halberdier and Trebs and try and castle this middle hill. We still might see the castle, but I see an archery range. It might actually be Arbalest. That's the choice. Now over here, Classicpro trying to break in unsuccessfully. There's the castle going up in the middle. Another castle coming for Classicpro. And that is... This is all very unique because I kind of feel like in some ways the composition for Villese is very fragile right now against Gebetto and Camel. But because the Gebetto and Camel are spread out... Yeah, see how this works? Like, Gebetto can take out pikemen, but they're separated from each other. 2 castles for Classicpro, but Classicpro won't be an imp, and I value being an imp a lot more here. There's not much Classicpro can do once trebuchets start dropping to fight up this massive hill. Now, There is something that I've seen in the past, and it's only been in the best Gold Rush games, but it's where you try and expand over here, but then you use your military when you're in Castle Age to try and hit the main eco. Look how exposed this is for Villese. It seems like a long shot, but I've seen it before. And if you can get a bunch of knights in Geppetto, you could probably break in here, and then Villese is going to have gold, but he won't have food income. That's probably your best play. The nice thing about Geppetto is that against infantry, they're very strong, and you probably don't need to get the elite upgrade with this unit anyways. So being stuck in Castle Age is fine. The nice thing about being Malians, as we see an attempt for Classicpro to get over here, Malians get extra pierce armor per age on their infantry. So if you go for something like, can you go long swordsman? Ram? I mean, maybe all-in Castle Age long swordsman Geppetto Ram. I see the Geppetto's running in here to take out a Treb. Wow! Alright, that Treb's gone. I feel like this is going to get more and more complicated, though. It's not like Villese is that far behind in economy. The Geppetto is very weak, very low HP unit. I don't even know what to do with YouTube uploads now because round 2 I wasn't expecting it to be that good. I think this full series needs to go to YouTube. What do you guys think? It's only round 2. The best of 7 deciders will go up in full. This whole series is deserving of YouTube. What if here's the sad thing. What if the main event doesn't live up to this? You know, crazy viewership in the main event, and we're just like, well, it never really lived up to that round 2 qualifier set. I mean, the names are hidden. I can just tell Robo that the only players that will play in the event is going to be Classicpro and Villese. Every round is just a rematch of Classicpro and Villese, and Robo tells them to pick different civs. Everyone's like, he's picking yellow! It's gotta be Viper! Viper picks yellow! Did you see that quick wall? Oh my god! Viper's the only one who could ever make that house like that. That's the best part about Hidden Cup, is how wrong everyone is. Including myself, by the way. Supplies! Classicpro getting supplies. The castle's gone down. This is going to be exactly... Well, not exactly what I said. In terms of what's raiding. Because we don't have knights. But a similar thing to what I mentioned. Classicpro just breaks in with the Geppettos. And now Villese is falling back into towers. 48 on food for Classicpro. Is he going to win this? Despite, you know, about to lose a castle. I mean, I don't even know. It all comes down to how quickly he can tech into champion, really. The Geppettos are so weak, and you can see it here. Even though, like, they're strong in attack, but they're very fragile. They're very delicate. Now, good thing is you don't really need to get any unique techs in this scenario, but you do need to make houses in the back of your base. Yeah, houses are already coming up. Classicpro realizes this castle's probably going to drop pretty soon. I think the next volley will do it. You need to get two-handed swordsman, you need to get plate mail armor, and then you need to get champion. That takes a lot of time. Look at this. That's a full minute just for those upgrades, and that's even without talking about the resources, without talking about the gold in particular. And I guess Classicpro could have taken the risk to go over here, and you see now that he's probably shift-clicked these vills in a circle to loop over here. You look at what Villese can see. Villese has not scouted that. So, I mean, there's a chance that if Villese slips up and doesn't look at that, it could do something. But also, do Khmer get hands cannon? Because hands cannon, gunpowder units are a good counter to champions. But they don't get hand... I thought they did. I thought they did. Are you sure? Well, if he doesn't get... They do get hand cannon, right? I mean, he's got the gold. Normally, the downside of hand cannons is that they're low HP and they cost a lot of gold. There's so many ARBs already. I could see Villese mixing in hand cannons too. Even if it's just 25% and doing well. Champion upgrade still on the way. I don't think Classicpro can justify taking any fights before it. I'd love to see a castle drop over here. Just so maybe he can start trebbing from the other side. He's going to be fighting up the hill prior to the champion upgrade here, Classicpro. Here he comes. Another castle for Villese. This is going to be the second one in the middle. How strong are the champ Skulls? or the two-hand Scarls. The Scarls. 8 Pierce Armor, Arbalest, tickle these units, and the push is not bad for Classic Pro. The downside is he's on limited gold, and he doesn't have Siege to back it up. And now, again, if Khmer get hand cannon, I thought they did, you could also mix in some hand cannons. There's the castle now for Classic Pro. Villese has had time to right his eco, fix his eco, get a few arbs back for the Gubetto. So he's also mixing in elephants. Elephants, arguably even better than going for hand cannons, because then you have a meat shield in front for your Arbalest. It does not feel as though Classic Pro is going to be able to do this if he doesn't have a follow-up to his champion attack. And he does not seem to have the numbers right now. 47 arbs still doing the job. Yes, there's a lot of Pierce Armor. They're still slow. They're still only 70 HP units, these Champ Scarls. Aliens do not get Halberdier, so going Halberdier with this is not... It wouldn't be a great option even if they did, I guess, because the elephants are here. All right. All right, a few conversions here. Classic Pro just really needs to take out the Trebs and just slow everything down for a bit. That way he's not losing his eco. And I think maybe build some barracks on the sides, because Classic Pro... He's good in low numbers, not in that big bulk. And not him, you know, just his units. So, this, honestly, it's like, this game is a caster's dream. This would be so smart. Imagine if he raids Vilese's main eco with champs. So he needs to delay dying, and then he needs to raid at the same time. A lot of space over there, but Villese has a lot of time to right his eco and continue to push Classic Pro's economy. Elephant was a smart choice, because you don't even need to get all the upgrades. It's like 250 HP against a 70 HP champion, plus you have the gold for it. Bloodline's now coming in. So much of the economy for Classic Pro. I mean, it's out there, but it doesn't seem to be quite as strong, though I love the food count. He had to pull villagers off of gold. Yeah, he needs to send more there. And Villese really just... This is just a misplay to not see that gold. If he loses this game, it's because he doesn't see that gold, I think. Because the only reason that Classic Pro is able to make these champions is because of it. Wait. As Kid Boga would say, just wait a moment. Just wait a moment, please. Wait till you get like 15 and then go in. And make sure Arson is in. I think Arson was already in for Classic Pro. Some Spearmen now. Okay, so there's some fear of the Elephantos. That's fair. Let me look at Vilese's vision again. Okay, he's just noticed it. I think he went over here to build an outpost. Yep. So a little late to that decision. And now he might be thinking, uh-oh, he's got some gold. And this is why this version of Gold Rush is, in my opinion, superior to any version that we've used in Hidden Cups before, or really any tournament. And that's just because the game is about controlling the gold, but you can't just camp it with one castle and win. It really changes things. And the game sense from Classic Pro to understand how important raiding is so sick here. Here he comes. How do you defend from this if you're Villese? You have to send units from the middle back home. And this is as Classic Pro will try and push the middle. Yep, there are some hand cannons. All right. Champions underneath the castle. Champions probably can't accomplish much here. But maybe you should just go to the main eco. That's a champion. For some reason, it looked like a hand cannon for me. Maybe I'm just blind. As Villese goes to push Classic Pro off of golds. Classic Pro getting guilds now. When he ends up selling food and selling all these resources, he's going to get more gold in return. It's important. But there's so many castles for Villese in the middle. And that castle drops really quickly. Proper number of trebs, proper unit comp. The only way that Villese possibly loses this game is if it's to the raid. He could lose a lot of vills here. So he's got to send his hand cannons and elephants back, and he's doing that now. Is it possible for Classic Pro to kill 20, 30 villagers with this raid? I also see him sending in champions on this side. And he could hit that stone possibly. Villese has a lot to focus on right now. And it is giving Classicpro time to expand. Imagine if he goes for light cav raids too with Malians. You don't need gold for that. There's been some classic Gold Rush games. Viper vs. Yo in T90 series. That's on YouTube. That's an old upload. Probably one of the best Gold Rush games I've seen that wasn't in a tournament. That was just in a show match. Look at this push. It gives Classicpro an opportunity elsewhere because Villese is distracted and has to pull population away. It's 190 pop for both of them right now. But I've been making the top 10 Hidden Cup games YouTube video, and that will be out hopefully in a week or two after this cast. But I'd forgotten how good the Hidden Cup 2 Finals Gold Rush game was with Nobunaga and Robin Hood. My goodness, was that a disgusting game. And it's very similar where one person would take the middle, but the other person would raid the sides. Gold's important, but it's not the most important resource at all times. 190 pop for both. What more could you want here? And if he ends up making stables on the left, I could see Classicpro, who's selling resources to get blacksmith upgrades now for his light cav. Though he won't have Farimba, I guess. But yeah, anyways, I could actually see Classicpro doing this. Now, what is Villese doing wrong currently, chat? I do have one thought on that. I think that, well, I'll wait to hear what you guys have to say. Yeah, Schmalgan says Villese needs to raid. Yeah, I agree. And not with much, because you don't have much. But just 10 light cav. Just float 10 population to raid a little bit. Because the problem is stemming from he's camping the middle, and Classicpro is making the smart moves in pressuring him. So I see, as we say that, obviously, you know, Villese listens to my advice all the time. That's what makes him so... 20 seconds away from Hussar. And so with Hussar, Khmer could be very strong. And another castle drop for Villese. I think Villese is still going to win this. The Classicpro is putting up a freaking fight. Here comes some pikemen. And he wants to drop another castle, which he just was able to afford because of that stone he found. And Villese can't complete that castle yet. Yet being the operative word. I feel like champion light cav with Malians could somehow kill this gold force. Would you guys agree? Like, that's what's really awkward. If you had 30 light cav, 30 champion... doesn't cost a lot of gold. It's possible. Again, trying to clear this up and maybe raid with some pikes soon. Villese patrolling around with these hand cannons. Another castle, and Villese just needs to continue to pressure before this gets even more out of hands. But that's what's going on here. Now you see the Hussars expanding. Villese seems to be aware that there's stuff over here. Castle will go up. Castle might be for the Farimba upgrade. I don't think he has enough gold for that right now. Maybe we're finally at the point with 84 military for Villese where Classicpro is not threatening Villese enough. And Villese will be able to finish this. Unbelievable series. I mean... there hasn't been a game where the loser has played poorly today. Let's put it that way. Farimba on the way now. Castle needs to stay up to complete that, but it might be too late. And I know Villese recognizes that he's exposed on the sides because he's patrolling units here, and he's making castles now to secure these areas. So he's shoring up the flanks. Some of these castle upgrades, though, imagine if they were 20 minutes ago for Classicpro. Which is why it was so important that Villese pushed the castles. The conscription would have helped so much. I also think Farimba could have helped a lot. Still got plenty of gunpowder units protecting the sides as Villese continues to push. See, Classicpro's population does not tell him he's dead. That's what's crazy about this. Based on his population, he should 100% be playing on. Forget the gold. 180 pop, and you're occasionally raiding the opposition, you play on. Unless you're playing a 500 population game against the easy AI. Not trying to call out Twitch chat, but I know that probably happens from time to time. 30 light cav moving in. This is a gold, or sorry, a trash unit. 7+7 attack But the hand cannons only have 35 HP. This is why everyone says that hand cannons are one of the weakest units in the game. It's a gold unit. It costs 50 gold a pop. A lot of the ARBs and hand cannons are dying to that. Still feel like Villese should be able to do it. Both players' pops drop significantly after that. Another castle for Villese. Oh my god. At this point, he's got to be buying a lot of stone, right? It's not like he's been mining extra stone in the middle. Elite Battle Elephant. I've been calling this the Lambo. You should never have one of these. But I guess stonks, right? Villese, he has the gold. The Daddy Trust Fund there in the middle. And you just don't kill this. You cannot kill Elite Battle Elephant. This is the statement that Villese needs to make to take us into the next game. Also having Tusk Swords. So 14 plus 7 attack. It's probably... I mean, it's not the strongest unit you can make, right? Because you have Persian War Elephants. But it is, yeah, the last thing that Classicpro sees before he resigns. What a game, though. What a beautiful game. And imagine the exhaustion, right? You've put, at this point, hours into 4 games. You still have to give your all for the 5th. And there's so much on the line. Both players have already earned $100. It doesn't sound great compared to the main event prize pool. They'll earn another 100 if they win here. Woohoo! But if they make it, they have a chance to go to the best of 7 decider next weekend. And if they're playing this good, whoever wins here could easily win that best of 7 decider. And I mean that. All right. Not that I would ever, not trying to imply that I say things I don't mean by saying, and I mean that. 2-1 KD for Villese. It was that spurt of extra military right about here. And what was weird about that moment was Villese went up by 15 to 20 military, but down by 15 to 20 villagers during that time because he idled his TCs. But the map control ended up winning him the game, and the faster imp, even though it was dicey at times, also got him that win. Economically, Classicpro had 12,000 more food than Villese. Despite Villese having Khmer farms, he had more food, more wood, and he even had more stone. It was just the gold for Villese, and not stellar defense on the sides, but good recognition when the going got tough. And we have one more game. It will be on Bay. And I think we'll see Lithuanians for Villese, based on what I'm seeing in the draft. I see Bulgarians and Malay for Classicpro. Which civ would you go for in Classicpro's position? Now, I'll be real and say that I think that Lithuanians are one of the strongest civs for this upcoming map. I think that Villese is going to have a build order, which is going to be tough to compete with. I've also seen a lot of people try and go YOLO water control against Lithuanians. And Lithuanians with the build order, which I'll show you when we get into the game. Very hard to stop with that. So I'm a little worried that either of them might commit fully onto the water instead of expanding elsewhere, which could be a mistake on this map. I like the idea of Bulgarians against Lithuanians because I feel in late game Bulgarians are sick. But I also feel like if water is any priority on any map, you have to consider Malay. T90, will we ever see Bay / Pants in a ranked pool? No, to the devs, it's a lot more important to put Socotra in there. And Amazon Tunnel or whatever. I don't even remember. No, on a serious note, not trying to diss the map pool. On a serious note, I did bring up to them that it would... I think it'd be freaking cool to have a Hidden Cup map pool. But that's on them. If they reach out to me, we can talk about that. I think it'd be nice right after Hidden Cup. Or maybe the week during Hidden Cup where everyone could experience the maps for themselves. Game hasn't started yet. So actually what we've been doing today is So we had so many sets. We had 4 best of 5s we wanted to cast. The first 2 were played at the same time. These players scheduled for different times, and since there's so much going on in each round, we cannot cast them all live. So the first one was live. Number 2 and number 3 set were Rex, and this has been Rex as well. But I think we're just like one game behind them. So if this series is as close as I think it is, I mean, I'm hoping this isn't the case, but maybe they're in the midst of game 5 and we have to delay to get it from the beginning. Now, of course, naturally, I'm going to search. I don't see them in a game. So maybe the final game will be live. I don't know. I don't see them. Okay, I've just received the 5th game. Wonderful. And I'm so ready for this. So much on the line. Both players playing so well. And game number 5 in round 2, guys. Thank you for the support today. Also, there's been a lot of nice little words here or there. I've not been able to say thanks to each and every one, but I do see most of them. Thank you. T90, if Classicpro wins, can he be Upset Pro? Let's not get ahead of ourselves, Eric Baum. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's see what happens. It will be Lithuanians versus Malay. This is going to be all or nothing, really fast or really slow game. That's the way I see it. We'll connect. We'll be in. The game is paused. I have to pause. I'm trying to get this down. And here we go. In the blue, we have Villese. Villese is playing as the Lithuanians. Villese, I'm sure, has been absolutely shocked by the level of Classicpro today. It's just rounds 2. Classicpro is seed 36. Villese is seed 4. I, like everyone, had Villese on my list to go into the main event, which means I expected him to cream everyone in round 1 and round 2 and then win against a very strong player in round 3, which will be next weekend. Classicpro, he's not having any of that. He's playing Malay. And on this map, there's 8 salmon holding 225 food apiece. So it is important to control the water area. But eventually, you've got to expand. There's deer out here. There's wood. There's gold. There's lots of reason to take the land. Now, I'm looking at the build order for Villese because this is what I touched on. Since Lithuanians have 150 extra food at the start, you don't need to go for 6 villagers on food to keep your TC running. So you can get to that lumber camp much earlier. Now, I love Lithuanians, and I don't necessarily think we're in a state where we need to start nerfing civs. If anything, we need to start buffing some civs, making them stronger, right? But I think this is really freaking strong, man. Like, that combined with the other things Lithuanians can do, it's just nuts. Because you can keep your TC running, and then you can have 2 fishing ships out before the opposition docks. So, there's a dock. Now, another thing to bring up about this map is you can never wall to your dock and be completely safe from land units, because units can always run around here. I actually remember a game where someone used their fishing ship to block there. But yeah, you would have to use Navy in some kind. So if you wanted to full wall your base, you'd probably want to wall like this, like this, like this. But you'll notice the stone's exposed, the berry's exposed if you do that. Lots of resources out here you'll want to secure. Important moment here. Villese is looking for the dock for Classicpro. They probably will scout fight. Yeah, I think Villese will end up getting out of here, actually. We should see a Vil coming over there. So, yeah, Villese will see. Okay, haven't seen the dock yet. Maybe Villese is thinking there should be a dock here, but nope. That's just because you're Lithuanians. Yeah, so Poison. Poison just mentioned that you could actually have a dock even earlier with Lithuanians. That's true, but then you're delaying your food income a bit more. So Villese's approach is to go faster dock, but also much faster feudal. So my worry for Classicpro is, yes, he advances faster to the next stage with Malay, but I feel as though it'd be completely realistic for Villese to have a build order down where you just straight up destroy on water. So I think you've got to have a backup plan other than water if you're playing Lithuanians, which makes this civ disgustingly strong if that's what the game plan is from the enemy. 2 fishing ships out, 3rd fishing ship on the way. That's 2 economy lead. Already these fishing ships have brought in about 50 food. Plus you start with 150 food. Lithuanians are just so strong here. Villese making all the right decisions when under pressure. And this is what I mean. At this point, he's almost finished his 2nd bore already. If you went to wood right away with everything, then he might not have had quite as good a food eco underneath his TC. Let's see if Villese can click. I've yet to see this go very late in the qualifiers. The main event, we saw that when it was Mongols v Mongols, but... Okay, he's a little early here, I think, to click up. We'll drop off with his fishing ships. Is he idling? Okay, there he goes. Wow. That is a fast uptime. And now, since it's full of on winning water in his eyes, he's going to switch everything onto wood and gold and try and get a second dock up and go fires. Let's see what Classic Pro can do to compete with this. Villese advanced 66% faster to the next age. E2 is about to click up after Loom. It feels as though he's still going to be later. Should see a villager coming. Whoa, did you see that? She was moonwalking. Villager coming out here. Classic Pro can block the dock, which could be annoying, but he cannot attack the Vill. I mean, he's delaying it. I don't remember how long it takes to build a dock. He didn't have the wood anyways. There we go. It should be fine for Villese. Look at the up times. Dock will be later for Classic Pro. It looks like it'll be close. Damn. I mean, what if it's the exact same time? Feels like it'll be off by a few seconds, but that Malay uptime, beautiful. And they're both going for such a cutthroat approach that this game is probably going to end very early. I don't, like, Old Bay, at least the way, Old Bay, it's a great seasoning. But the way that people would play it was more about expanding, and at least in this Hidden Cup and the qualifiers so far, we've just seen people pressuring for the water, and that's about it. Okay, Scout weaker for Classic Pro, that could hurt. I can't believe we've made it this far to Classic Pro playing full-on meta Water Wars against Villese in a Game 5. 2 docks. Should be 2 dock production from both for a while now. Any little mistake can kill you. Now, if you foresee you're going to lose water, you have to start going to berries. You can see, like, over here, there's still plenty of pigs. Lithuanians, so strong. But yeah, you have to start thinking about farms and other things, and the Scout's being microed here, the Villager's being microed. Now the Villager needs to repair, the Villager repairs, Scout wasn't microed back. Fishing ship's still alive for Classic Pro, but normally if you're playing it like this, it can be very quick. Because fishing ships, they usually are only using the fishing ships for food income. You run out of food, then you're rip. Now you see the mill, though. So Classic Pro's thinking ahead. So he might start farming. He might really start feeling like he's going to get overwhelmed on water. Demo would have been helpful in this position. Maybe even a second repair villager coming out here. Oof, man. Villese with great micro. Villese gets 1. Villese gets 2. Villese microing back the weak one. This is all the difference. If you do the exact same strategy, Villese is going to get 3. Villese will get all 4. And then should take out the fishing ships. Again, could micro the weak one back. Villese even bringing in the Scout now. This is heartbreaking, man. Classic Pro's had such a good series. No! And another villager goes down. Brutal. Dang. And so now look at the difference. 7 military versus 1. And there was a backup plan for Classic Pro. There's no way he calls it quits here. There's no way. You've got to continue to play it. But Villese even going out here with some villagers to mill the deer. Actually, that villager is stuck. She is stuck. Her feet are caught in the deer carcass. That is disgusting. Make sure you take your shoes off before you enter the house. Yeah, I'm just... In theory, the best thing for Classic Pro right now is demo the fish, add farms, and try your best to get up to Castle Age with land military. I'm liking the walls. I'm liking the farm eco compared to what Villese has. And if he can take out the fishing ships, it'd be a solid move. I always have felt like that while players were correct to invest into the middle, that the middle might not be quite as strong, which is why I did put the other resources out here for players to prioritize. But again, the meta's shifted. Right now, we're seeing a ton of people go for water civs on this map. Not so much like late game powerhouse civs. How's that villager? I honestly don't know what's going on with her. Maybe she's recovering emotionally from what happened earlier. I'll keep you updated. Middle would be extremely strong for Malay, as some people are pointing out. So, Villese probably happy with his position for that reason as well. I like how Villese has split up all of his ships so a demo could never hit those ships. Here come the demos. He's also split up his fishing ships. Oh, debated. Well, I mean, honestly, it really looked like he was going to go in for the fish there. And he ended up getting a half-decent shot on the Navy from Villese. But he's still not producing behind this, so I don't think it's that impressive. Also didn't get his wood or farm upgrade. Whereas Villese has both of those, and he's collecting deer right now. And Villese has a scout. So Villese can see that Classicpro is not doing this. He could also look to see if Classicpro is going to go for military. I see a spearman. Oh, yeah, spearman could be great.
Yeah.
Send the spearman over to take out the deer. Kill them all. Oh! Boink! Got him. All right, well, now Villese has to worry a bit. Because if Villese wasn't paying attention, he might think that there might be an archery range. Yeah, look, he's reacting with his own archery range. This might be so he can make, his own archers, of course. But, like, the timing almost makes me feel like he's expecting some archers. I wonder if he'll make a few skirms first. Needs the blacksmith and the archery range to advance to the next age. This is a beautiful build order from Villese. I feel as though if I would have told myself that we'd be looking at a 5th game between these two players, that what I would say at this time is that Villese was shaky earlier, but he ended up showing his form. I don't even think Villese was shaky earlier, honestly. I think Classicpro was just playing insane Age of Empires. The fish have paid off. The deer have paid off. Everything that Bay is about. And now Villese is on the way to Castle Age. Doesn't have a ton of military investment on land, though. So I'm thinking he might go for a boom. It's just one archer range. Just a few archers here or there. Maybe the villagers that are on deer. Okay, there's a stable. I was thinking the villagers on deer might end up making a TC. I don't like the range placement for Classicpro. I'm pretty sure that Villese could scout that if he gets close enough. But for now, the houses are just going down. And similar to last time, Malay bailing Classicpro out with the uptime. If you weren't Malay, I don't think this would be super competitive here. But because your TC spends less time researching the next stage, you also end up having more villagers than the enemy. We'll have archers. Villese will have archers. But I think Villese... I don't know what his plan is with archers. But he's got like 2 or 3 of them right now. And he's going to go into knights with Lithuanians, which is very strong. Now Lithuanians get +1 attack on their cav per relic. He's even going out here for the deer. I like it. Remember, the enemy has not scouted, so it makes a lot of sense to do this. Whereas otherwise, the enemy could scout this and abuse it. But I assume we'll see an early monastery for Villese. There's the TC, so maybe the monastery will come soon. Getting chain barding right away. I think Classicpro, while in Castle Age, will not have the archer numbers needed to deal with any knights. Blacksmith over here. Doesn't even have the blacksmith upgrades. And now adding a monastery, which I believe is the correct call. Against Lithuanians, you're probably expecting some knights, despite seeing that archer range. It's a good call, but Vilese's economy. Bowsaw coming in. The wood chopping is going to be insane. He's going to start adding fish traps in the middle now. A bit earlier than I probably would, but then again, you don't want these to be idle. So I like it. This might confuse Classicpro. But Villese is going to show that he has archers and not crossbowmen. Even though the crossbowman upgrade's coming in, this will probably confirm Classicpro's suspicions that the enemy might be going for knights. Maybe it would have been smarter for Villese to just wait till they were crossbowmen, but I'm probably also overthinking it. Because then again, they don't have Bodkin arrow. That palisade wall, I noticed that earlier, it confused me. Palisade wall goes down. Units will run in. There was a monk or 2 back here. And yeah, I think that what Villese is going to have to do to win this game and thus win this series is honestly just take full map control. Just sit back. Get all the relics on the map. Scout the map. Expand. Maybe even a siege workshop could work. I see a villager in the middle right now. Crossbows. Take out one crossbowman from Villese. And I feel like the knights could fight here, but because there's a monk, Villese is hesitant. Doesn't need to take any massive risks right now. Whereas I think this has to be 1 TC all in from Classicpro. If he tries to boom right now, it's not going to work. All of his gold and wood needs to go into monks and crossbows. Just non-stop military. Look at this economy. Relic number 1 for Villese. That's +1 attack. And there's got to be more relics. Let me show you what Villese can see right now, everyone. Villese can see a decent amount. I'd like to see him make a scout, though. Just to find the relics. Check the extra resources. Make sure no one's there. This is a little funny. So, the potential's here for Classicpro to get conversions on fires. And if he gets conversions on enough, he could actually raid the fish traps. And also, Villese could make a demo, so it's also pretty scary. It never is feeling convincing when it has to feel convincing. You know? Now Villese has good knight numbers. He's close to his reinforcements and he'll have siege. So now Classicpro figures, all right, I've got to add a town center. 8 on food, 7 on food for Classicpro. Town center now going up. Economically, just well behind Villese. I think Villese he went for the wiser decision. He went for the correct play with water, but he also outplayed in other areas of the map here as well. And maybe the first mistake. Oh, man, that's so unlucky for Classicpro. That could have easily led to 3 or 4 conversions. I've seen it. In fact, I've seen it today. Nikov's in chat like RNG, lol. Seriously, though. Imagine if he gets 2 conversions there. The Scorpion then goes down. The Monk probably goes down. Monks swing games so much. Now, Villese is aware that the monks are out there. Again, that could have been a conversion. You kind of have to commit here with the monks, don't you? Because you can run. And that first conversion came in really quick. The other ones, well, they end up coming in the end. Now, the knights, they have +1 attack from the relics. I think that's going to be more than enough with chain barding to pounce on the crossbowman, kill the crossbowman. There's still scorpions behind this. There's another monk bringing in another relic. And Villese, there's no way he loses this game. I'm so disappointed for Classicpro because he played so well. But what I want is I want the best players to be playing in Hidden Cup, and you've got to win to be the best player, right? Seems obvious. Half my job is stating the obvious, but yeah, I mean, we can have no complaints when players are close and it goes down to a game like this because Villese has played so well. He drafted Lithuanians early, probably one of his best strategies. So I'd say, again, do not take any unnecessary risks if you're Villese right now. Classicpro is not going to call this quits early. He understands the stakes. Also, probably just wants to show everyone how good he is. He's done that today. Market over here for Villese. Interesting. Maybe he wants to buy food. He's mining stone. He's mining gold. He could build castles everywhere. Ooh, redemption now for Classicpro so he can convert the scorpions. I don't see redemption swinging things all that heavily, though. I mean, you convert the scorpions, you're still just defending, and you're still in an awkward spot. Still don't have a large answer to the knights. As maybe Villese will try and win the game right here. Is he going to castle drop? He is going to castle drop. Right on the shoreline. It's right next to all this action right now. Well, say goodbye to your scorpions there, Villese. But now that means your knights are not going to be converted. Only one is anyways. And so the knights can just run in here. And the knights can take out the crossbowmen. They probably could have done so even if the conversions would have come in on the knights. The ram's there. The ram can take out the TC so easily. The idle time is so high for Classicpro currently. And Villese has all the resources and all the economy on the map. He can just continue to do this. He's through. Classicpro fails with the quick walls. There's nothing to stop these Lithuanian Knights from just ending the game right here. You can hop in the TC Classicpro, but then your villagers aren't working, and they need to be. The castle's up, and Classicpro is probably typing GG. Well played. Good luck next right about now. Completely overwhelmed. And Villese is spread out everywhere. He's in the starting TC, obviously. This TC. A knight here, a knight here. GG's in chat, boys and girls. What a series. This, to me, is a heartbreaker, but you better get used to heartbreak, because March 5th, 6th, and 7th is when the best of 7 deciders come. Villese will be playing in one of those, and I expect most of those sets, if not all, to be back and forth like this best of 5 was in round 2. This is just to qualify for the Hidden Cup 4 main event. But Classicpro, I think you've got ice veins. Seed 36, 3-0'd Zupi, and then almost beat Villese here. You are seriously insane when it comes to tournaments. And I really hope, if you're listening to this right now, that you continue to train, because most of us know it comes down to making the good decisions in the high pressure moments. It doesn't necessarily have to be a lot of speed or like a ton of micro. Classicpro, you had the micro today, you had the strategy. It just didn't extend all the way to game 5. Crazy. But yeah, this game was probably the biggest stump. Except for maybe game 1 when Classicpro stumped Villese. 72 kills, 29 units lost. More food, not more wood, excuse me, more stone and more gold collected for Villese, of course, as the game went on. I always felt like with 3 relics, Lithuanians are going to be tough to stop. Also, that's the second time I've seen Malay. What do you do in post-imp on that map with Malay? I mean, we've seen games on that map go on for over an hour. What unit do you make? I mean, we've seen Paladin civs, we've seen Mongols make Mangadai. Malay don't really have a real powerhouse gold unit, so I question it for that reason as well. But the home map, I guess it didn't pay off there, right? Wasn't that the final home map for Classicpro? Yeah, home map didn't pay off for Classicpro. 3-2 Villese, and he will move on.